Hey guys. This is part 10 of What If Naruto is hiding her identity, and secretly a girl. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start.
We are pain, that's all. We are God.
Chapter 55, Revelations. He shook Naruto awake when he spotted she was still lying beside him. Instead of opening her eyes though, she buried herself deeper in the blankets. Shikamaru laughed, kissing her on the top of her head. If you don't get up now, you'll never be able to sneak back into your room. Don't care, Naruto muttered, wrapping her arms around Shikamaru's waist. I'm still sleepy. Shikamaru started running his fingers through her hair. You've been tired a lot lately. I think you've been working too hard. The village is doing well, so you can relax? Naruto gave a grunt, letting Shikamaru go and pulling the blankets up to her chin. Her eyes had taken on a hollow look before she blinked and instead took on an exhausted appearance. Shikamaru felt his heart drop. He had noticed Naruto's eyes losing their spark a bit more each day. In retaliation to this, many of those in the Nara clan had taken to making sure Naruto took breaks and smiled or laughed at least once a day. Shikamaru had noticed Naruto returning to the estate at the end of a long day with a few Nara clansmen, all of them chatting comfortably with the blonde. Shikamaru had a feeling that their desire to get to know Naruto had something to do with Yoshino, or them picking up on Naruto's close ties and importance to not only Shikamaru but the Akamichi and Yamanaka clan heirs. Either way, Shikamaru was glad his clan had taken to protecting Naruto in any way they could. Some villagers who wanted to find out if the rumors about Naruto were true had tried to spot her walking around the estate. This was problematic because she had taken to dressing how she wanted whilst in the estate, so spent most of her time in the estate out of chest binds and even wearing dresses. Shikamaru had developed a fondness for a blue one she owned that often made him forget what he was doing the moment he saw her. For those that were simply curious about Naruto, the clan turned away politely, often asking if it truly mattered what gender the blonde was. Those who clearly had some hostility towards Naruto, or something to gain from finding out, were not treated so kindly. Shikamaru had had to break up a fistfight between a clansman and a village civilian. From what he had gleaned as the two fought against his shadow binds, the civilian had been one of the ones who was against Naruto's long-haired look when she was young. When he connected that with the way Naruto had ran and hid in Shikamaru's house at the mere sound of the man's voice, Shikamaru had been forced to fight the urge to kill the man. Shikaka had come out of the house, a dark glare on his face. Shikamaru knew his own face was showing the same expression. He had smirked darkly when his father had walked over and punched the man square in the face. Shikamaru let the man out of his shadow binds at the right time, so the man toppled painfully to the ground. You are not welcome in the Nara estate. If you come here again, I will have you arrested. So you're choosing that freak to protect? Just like last time, the man sneered. Do you mean will I choose the kind, caring, and powerful ninja over the man who is too much of a coward to face a child when they're conscious? Because yes, I will choose Naruto over you, and so will the rest of the village. Naruto has made your kind a minority. Your only choice is to grovel at Naruto's feet and beg for forgiveness. But you'll have to do that out of the Nara estate. The Nara who had been fighting the man before Shikamaru got there pulled the man to his feet by the back of his shirt collar, shoving him over the estate line with enough force that the man went sprawling in the dirt. Shikamaru had then spent an hour convincing Naruto it was not only safe to leave Shikamaru's bedroom, but the house too. Although what had happened to Naruto wasn't well known, the Nara clan clearly had picked up on there being something violent alluded to by the intruder and Shikaka's interaction. Because of that, the Naras closed their gates and made sure to not surround Naruto, and instead giving her space. It had been after that incident that Naruto started to sneak into Shikamaru's room to sleep. She had made an offhand comment about Ino's snoring, but he knew from jokes Naruto had said that Jiraiya and Sasuke both were loud snorers and Naruto had learned to sleep through them. He decided to not point out her obvious lie and instead had taken to sleeping on one side of his bed and having two pillows in place so they didn't have to have the discomfort of sharing a pillow. They also chose to not mention their sleeping arrangement to Shikamaru's parents, and or Ino and her parents, hence Naruto sneaking back out of his room early every morning. Though Shikamaru was certain that all of them would understand the unspoken reason Naruto felt comfortable only in Shikamaru's room, it was simply more fun to keep it as a secret and see if they could get away with it. It wasn't clear if anyone had noticed Naruto's sleeping quarters or not, but Shikamaru liked to think they were being sneaky enough. "What do you have planned today?" Shikamaru asked, sitting up and wondering if it was worth pulling on one of the pair of pants that his mother had cut above the knee on one leg for his cast. Looking down at Naruto, who was staring up at him with large, blue eyes, he decided to sit back against the head of the bed and spend more time with the blonde. "Well, the builders have used up a lot of the wood we stacked a couple of days ago, so I'll be doing that for a while. Then I'm going to the Uchiha estate to check on the civilians and to help move some of the people out and into the housing we've made." Naruto sat up with a sigh, sitting cross-legged, facing Shikamaru. She grinned. "Are you excited for today?" Shikamaru chuckled. "I am looking forward to getting the cast off, but your hard work will be lost." He looked down at his leg, Naruto's scribbling letters and misspelt words decorating his cast. Her warning was still one of the most prominent, and one of the ones people first noticed, but Naruto had added in jokes or random, rather embarrassing things over the hard surface. Things like "beware, he pinches," and "illogical is best" sat next to things like "I wear pink boxers" and "Shikamaru." These things had caused Shikamaru to be asked to explain by a number of people. On telling the blonde of this issue, she had doubled over, laughing at his discomfort. "On the plus, once it's off I can plan our date. I figured I should wait until I could move around the village easier." This had caused a blush to spread across Naruto's tan cheeks. She ducked her head, looking up at him through thick lashes. "I thought you didn't want to go on one anymore." "That's not it in the slightest. All restaurants have been destroyed, so I realized I had to get creative with the plans, and that would be easier without a cast. I should have voiced that to you. Sorry." Shikamaru reached out, taking Naruto's hand. "That's alright. I'm just glad we'll still get to go on it. I'm looking forward to it." Shikamaru smiled, kissing Naruto's knuckles. "I'm glad." Running his thumb over the back of Naruto's hand, he asked something he had wisely not asked the day before. "Do you want to tell me what had you so upset yesterday?" Naruto frowned, staring down at the bed. "Well, Kakashi-sensei kind of strong-armed me to take a break with the rest of Team Kakashi. This meant I spent ages with Sakura telling us all how stupid it was that people thought I was a girl and pointing out all the reasons I'm clearly not. I look like a boy, not pretty enough for anyone to think I'm a girl, I don't act girly at all, I'm a pervert, which is contradictory with Sakura's behavior, and no boy would like me." She mostly said those in different ways and kept gestures to me as though she expected Kakashi-sensei, Captain Yamato, or Sai to suddenly start agreeing how ugly I am. I don't think they disagree, but they all know I am actually a girl, so they obviously don't think that's a good reason to say I'm obviously a boy. "Naruto, you're not ugly in the slightest. You should ignore Sakura. She's probably just jealous that you're jaw-dropping gorgeous, and it's being generous to say she's meh." He smiled when Naruto laughed. "That's mean." "But true." Shikamaru looked over at the door when it creaked open. "So I did hear two voices," Ino commented, smiling at the two. "Did you get up early to make sure you were here for Shikamaru's checkup?" Naruto and Shikamaru shared a subtle look as Ino opened her medical bag. With a chipper yep, Naruto grinned. She helped Shikamaru sit on the floor, his injured legs stretched out in front of Ino. "Oh, Sama Kimichi came and said that you are to meet her at the southwest forest when you've had breakfast. She said take your time." Ino held her hands over Shikamaru's leg, a faint chakra glow emanating from them. "About my height, dark hair, gray eyes, constantly smiling, makes you feel like she's reading your soul, but you're weirdly okay with it?" Naruto asked. "Yeah," Ino gasped, as though Naruto had verbalized something Ino had been struggled to do. "That's Aliyah. No one wanted to work with her cause she's from the Umbu, so I offered to. Turns out she was on the same team as Kakashi-sensei and Captain Yamato, so she's been telling me some great stories. Kakashi-sensei was an ass when he was younger and Captain Yamato sounds adorable." Shikamaru snorted. "Those poor men. Why do people avoid her cause she's Umbu? I know they're strong, and sometimes a bit too relaxed with killing, but she sounds nice enough. From what I got from some of the builders, she's in the Umbu cause she's good at reading people. With a look at someone, she can read their body language, facial expressions, and tone, and work out what they are thinking. I don't mind, cause she's really open about what she's thinking, so it's even. Naruto looked at Ino, who was still scanning Shikamaru's leg. Is everything alright? 2 of his breaks have healed, Ino started. I'm right here, Shikamaru reminded. Ino rolled her eyes at him. 2 of your breaks have healed, and your chakra network has healed after you caused a lot of damage to it with your idiocy. You mean my brave attempt to save Naruto? Shikamaru sniggered. I stick with what I said. Ino gave him a dry look before cracking an amused smile. But the 3rd break in your ankle has healed, but it's not strong yet. Either you can keep the cast on, or I can take it off and bandage it. You'll still need to use a crutch to get around, and you might feel some tightness or pain at the end of the day. The cast obviously has the encompassing nature and the difficulty of showering and getting around. Take it off, Shikamaru declares the moment Ino stopped talking. With a shrug, Ino did as he asked, Naruto observing her with fascination. Shikamaru liked seeing Naruto's expressions when she studied things. Even if she never managed to grasp certain things, she still liked seeing others utilize the skills. He had no doubt she was equally baffling but interesting to see in action, as she found many others. The blue-eyed blonde sat on the bed behind Shikamaru. The man had to admit it was helpful having a medic in the house. Shikamaru knew that Eiji had shown himself to be a very competent healer, but he was also new to the family. Ino was someone Shikamaru trusted with his life. He also enjoyed having an excuse to be lazy and not make his way to the medic tent. The fact that Naruto was sitting behind him playing with his hair was something he would have happily made a mandatory for all medical procedures for him. She still hadn't given him his hair elastic, and he didn't want her to. Instead, the object had become a jewelry piece for her. Lucky for Shikamaru, his mother had bought a new pack of hair elastics for him and had returned to the estate, with Aunt Momiji literally minutes before pain had attacked. It had been by pure luck that the 2 women had ran into each other and decided to have a cup of coffee and catch up that day. If they hadn't, Ino's mother would have been in her house when it was destroyed. Knowing that Naruto liked when his hair was down, he had taken to only pulling the top part of his hair up, so that he didn't have to keep pushing it out of his face. When on missions, he did pull it all up like usual, but had noticed that Naruto had taken a liking to his new way of styling his hair. Often enough, she was the one to pull his hair back, running her fingers through the strands. As Ino wrapped a bandage firmly around Shikamaru's shin and foot, Naruto draped her legs over his shoulders. When he tipped his head back, she smiled down at him, kissing him. Naruto loosely wrapped her arms around Shikamaru's neck, drawing him further into her warmth. This was always one of Shikamaru's favorite moments in the mornings. It had started when Shikamaru had sat down on the floor one day to pull on his shoe. Naruto had simply started playing with his hair, her legs over his shoulders, and hadn't said a word as she pulled his hair into the style he had chosen the day before. Although Naruto had started to initiate more of their interactions than she used to, this had been something so relaxed and natural for her that Shikamaru had gleefully encouraged it. A deep groan broke the moment. Smirking, Shikamaru looked at Ino, who was focusing on his leg, a slight blush on her face. "What's wrong, Ino? Jealous that your flirting with Sai isn't paying off?" Ino scrunched her nose up, sticking her tongue out at the man. Naruto laughed lightheartedly. "If it helps, Sai takes your emotional state into account when doing stuff involving you. Normally I have to remind him that others besides me and Sakura have emotions. He was actually worried about how you were taking the destruction of your home, and that's why he got plans made for you." The other blonde fought a smile before taking on a fake serious air. "Fine, you two can do what you want, just tone it down around me." "Yes, ma'am," Naruto laughed as Shikamaru kissed her knee. When Ino was done making sure the bandage was secure and wouldn't loosen as Shikamaru moved around, Naruto helped him to his feet and went to get dressed. Ino went to wash up and see if Shikamaru's and her mother's needed help with breakfast. After getting dressed in pants that didn't have a leg cut off, and a simple work shirt, Shikamaru slowly walked out of his room, readjusting to the lack of the weight of the cast. As he left his room, Naruto was walking past. Catching her by the waist, he pulled her close, kissing her. I have some planning to do, Shikamaru muttered against her lips. But you're not fully healed. So? I can still move around better. I can even get off the floor without help. He grinned when Naruto laughed. Honestly, I think I should start to worry that you don't want to go on this date. A flicker of concern came across Naruto's face. No, that's not it at all. I just want you to know that you don't have to do something you don't want to. I'll get over it if you want me to. A cold shiver went down Shikamaru's spine. Shaking off the feeling, he pulled Naruto closer, kissing her temple. I wouldn't have mentioned a date if I didn't want it. I don't find there's anything I do with you that I don't want to do. Naruto smiled, dropping her head against his chest. When Yoshino called that breakfast was ready, Naruto took Shikamaru's hand as they headed to the dining room. He had had a difficult time convincing his mother to cook the food he needed without asking questions. She had finally stopped when he had threatened to go to Choji's mother and say he was hungry. Those simple words would have gotten him more food than he needed. Yoshino had rolled her eyes, muttering about her wanting to be more involved in his life. Shikamaru retorted cheekily that she liked to meddle too much and had already involved herself by encouraging the clan to get to know Naruto, pretending it had to with Naruto and Shikamaru being close friends. It wasn't uncommon for clan members to get to know the head's dearest friends since they often became a figure in the estate and the clan liked to make them feel welcome. However, Shikamaru knew that some of his clansmen had begun to doubt the two of them were simply friends, though that wasn't surprising given that when the two were out in the estate they often walked close together, sitting leaning against each other, and showing minor intimacies that were beyond simple friendship. When Yoshino had finished making the food, Shikamaru had put the food into a container, and then stored them in a bag he found around the house. He went to Ino, threatening to tell Sai made-up stories about her if she didn't relent her teasing and do what he asked. Grabbing a large, thick blanket from the linen cupboard, and some of the throw pillows from the lounge room and stuffing them into another bag, Shikamaru made his way into the forest. Stumbling over the twigs and roots was made difficult with the crutch he had to use to walk, but Shikamaru continued on. When he was ready to leave, he saw Briefyu and some of the other deer staring at him. When their eyes moved to the food bag, Shikamaru grunted. Briefyu, make sure no one touches the bag until I get back. When Briefyu dipped his head, showing he understood the order, Shikamaru left, going looking for a certain blonde. He found her with Ryota. That was not a friendship he wanted to encourage. The two of them were both very mischievous, but whilst Naruto was a prankster and childish, Ryota was evil and dirty-minded. One of his favorite games to play was to make people as embarrassed as possible, something Shikamaru did not want him teaching Naruto. If the two of them united, the Nara clan would permanently be blushing. Shikamaru was not complaining that Naruto was wearing the orange dress she wore in the photo on his bedside table though. Even with her hair shorter, she still looked beautiful in it. Mind if I steal Naruto? She's your girlfriend, Ryota replied, grinning at the red tinge that covered his cousin's face. To make it worse, as he stood he sung, winking exaggeratedly, "Be safe." Naruto, either not listening to Ryota's last words or not understanding him, smiled at Shikamaru. What did you need? He held out his free hand to Naruto. Come with me. Without asking further questions, Naruto took his hand, letting him lead her into the forest. It was easier to walk with Naruto there to steady him. Any pain that might have radiated through his ankle whilst wobbling over tree roots was worth it. Naruto stopped the moment her eyes took in the clearing. Shikamaru had spread out the blanket in the clearing, the pillows thrown around in no real manner. He had also put a shogi board to the side, since the two enjoyed playing against each other, even if Naruto often ignored the rules, making Shikamaru think harder for ways to beat her. He had decided to not argue with her simply for the fun and challenge of it. I know it's not much. I had planned for us to go to a restaurant, but well, the restaurants probably won't be built for another month. I'll still take you to one, but I thought this would be nice. Naruto smiled with amusement at him. You're rambling. Shikamaru, this looks great, I promise. Shikamaru took a deep, calming breath. Going over to the bag sitting on the blanket, Shikamaru pulled the bouquet of sunflowers out from behind it, holding them out to Naruto. I'm glad. The blonde walked over, taking the flowers from him and smelling them. I'm surprised you remember these are my favorite. They're as bright as your hair, it's easy to remember. Getting them from Ino wasn't easy though. Shikamaru sat down slowly, being careful of his leg. When Naruto joined him, he started to pull the containers of food out of the back. He looked over at Naruto, who was already lounging back against the pillow. Getting Mom to cook was hard too, but I didn't want to make you sick with my cooking. Naruto laughed, making Shikamaru stop what he was doing when he looked at her. He noticed how the light came through the trees, landing softly on the blonde, making him forget what he was doing. Do you need help? Naruto teased. Shaking his head to clear it, Shikamaru handed Naruto some chopsticks. No, you just look gorgeous enough that you distracted me. Blushing, Naruto sat up and started taking the lids of the food. The two started eating, talking over what they had been doing within the week. The blonde had still been helping with the restorations, helping to move the most severe patients into the newly rebuilt hospital only the day before. The hospital had taken a long time to build since Captain Yamato wasn't able to make something so large by himself, and the hospital couldn't have been made mostly of wood for medical reasons. Captain Yamato was telling me about the improvements he had designed in the architecture. He didn't appreciate me nearly falling asleep, or me saying that he shouldn't be so long-winded if he wanted me to stay awake. He also said that I've spent too much time with your clan because I'm using and understanding words like long-winded. He threatened to eat a bag of food pills and build my apartment complex straight away. Then he was going to lock me in my apartment, so I'll stop talking to you all. Naruto tipped her head back, dropping a dumpling into her mouth. Shikamaru snorted. I'd rally the clan to break you out. I have to admit that I feel bad that I haven't helped much with the rebuilding. The most I've done is try to locate the owners of various items. But people appreciate that. It helps them to move forward since it gives them something they thought they had lost. I like your view of it. I'll have to remember that next time I'm stuck in a tent with Shiho, staring at damaged photos and jewelry and trying to connect them with descriptions people have handed in of family heirlooms or just items they are hoping to get back. Naruto sniggered before getting a confused look on her face. Do I know Shiho? I don't think so. She works in the Decipher division and requested to work with me on this. Shikamaru realized quickly that he should probably add more information onto that statement. I've explained to her that I'm not interested in her and care for someone else, but she apparently still likes to stare. On the plus, she is not a fan of how I've been pulling back my hair lately, so hopefully she'll be moving on soon. Ah, poor Shikamaru, it must be so hard to be as handsome and charming as you are. Naruto threw herself back to the lounging pose she had had before lunch. If only you had been born ugly, awkward, with no personality. That would have helped, yes. Shikamaru stretched out beside Naruto, looking at the woman's blue eyes instead of the clouds and crystal sky overhead. Though if my charisma gets your attention, I'm not complaining. Naruto rolled onto her belly, bringing her closer to Shikamaru. Well, your charisma is enjoyable, but I have to say it would fall flat if it wasn't for your intelligence and your heart. I'm liking this date more every second. You're awfully complimentary today. Shikamaru started running his fingers up and down Naruto's spine, moving closer to the blonde's warmth. You did put up with Yoshino and Ino just to get food and flowers for today, so you deserve some compliments. Naruto smiled, kissing Shikamaru deeply. It was enjoyable to spend hours just the two of them. Most of their moments together were interrupted lately by Ino and her parents, Shikamaru's parents, one of Naruto and Shikamaru's friends, or someone after Naruto's help. The dark-haired man was actually thankful that he had decided their date should be a private picnic where none of their friend could find them. Although any of the Nara could have stumbled across them, the clearing they were in wasn't an overly popular one. But Shikamaru had always enjoyed the holes in the canopy overhead that let the sky through and the soft grass on the floor of the clearing. Shikamaru was also grateful that he had brought the shogi board, since challenging Naruto without someone looking over their shoulders out of curiosity like in the house was something Shikamaru missed. The fact that he was also able to set the rule that every piece that a person lost earned them a kiss as a sorry was something he was proud of and happy he had thought of. It led to him doing everything he could to prolong the game, and keep the losses even between the two. Sometimes, though, They forgot about the game entirely when one of them lost a piece and only remembered when one of them accidentally knocked the board laying between them. After the second time that had happened, Naruto had commented that they should put a piece back each time in case one had been knocked off. Shikamaru, of course, agreed and then took to bumping the board whenever he could. He was starting to wonder if Naruto was doing so too after one incident led to 3 pieces being put back on the board after 10 minutes of ignoring the game. After almost 2 hours of this where almost all the pieces ended back on the board, Shikamaru whacked it aside, leaning over Naruto who was comfortably propped up on some of the pillows. Packing up their picnic was a lot easier with Naruto to help. Shikamaru didn't have to worry about falling on his face when dealing with the blanket and trying to stay off his injured ankle. As they were leaving the forest, they heard a ruckus at the estate gates. Normally the gates were only closed when official clan business was happening, and they didn't want visitors. However, since the man who tried to harass Naruto almost got in, they had made it a point of closing them. At that moment, though, Shikamaru and Naruto could see that the gate was open enough for someone to enter, and many clansmen were blocking the way for whoever it was. Even though either of them could hear what was being said, they could tell that voices were being raised. Naruto quickly transformed herself, her figure becoming boy-like and her long, orange dress turning into her usual attire. Dropping the bags onto the porch of Shikamaru's house, and Naruto gently putting down her flowers, the two made their way over to the gate. With the clearing of his throat, the clansman stopped arguing with the intruder and looked over. "Shikamaru," one of them started, "this girl wants to see Naruto. We've tried to explain to her that she can't come in and that we would ask Naruto if he wished to see her, but she won't listen." "I've told you. I'm his teammate, so I should be allowed in," Sakura snapped from behind a wall of Naras. "And we've told you," one of the Naras retorted, mimicking Sakura's tone with an exaggerated whine, "you weren't on the list of people our head and heir authorized, so you're not getting in." "Why aren't I on the list?" Sakura huffed. The Naras had moved out of Shikamaru's way, allowing him to see Sakura's face, which was splotched red with anger. "Because I don't like you," Shikamaru drawled, smirking when Naruto sniggered into her hand, trying to hide it with a cough. "But luckily for everyone that has to hear your voice, Naruto is right here, so say what you want and get out." Sakura had to switch between glaring at Shikamaru and glaring at his clansman that had laughed at his comment. Finally she turned to Naruto, snapping at the blonde. "I've been instructed to move medical supplies into the hospital, so come on." Sakura turned to walk away, obviously expecting Naruto to follow. "Hold on," Danny piped up. Shikamaru hadn't realized he was in the group but was certain the man had been the one to annoy Sakura the most. "If it was an official mission for Naruto, you could have just handed us the mission scroll and we would have passed it on." The pink-haired girl rolled her eyes. "It's not an official mission for Naruto. I came to get him to help me. If I did it by myself it would take forever. Come on, Naruto, hurry up." Shikamaru glared at Sakura as Naruto shrugged. "Well, I guess the quicker we get the supplies sorted the quicker they can be used to help." Naruto gave the Naros all a small smile before following Sakura out. "I can see why you don't like her," Danny commented. "Something tells me she doesn't know about Naruto's gender either." "No. Apparently she spent a good deal of time ranting about why Naruto can't be a female and generally insulting everything about Naruto, from her behavior to her looks." Shikamaru sighed, looking at his clansmen that all looked rather annoyed with the pink-haired girl's intrusion. "The order remains to check before letting in anyone not on the list to see Naruto. Sakura is not to be added either." "Good," Hiro sneered at where Sakura had stood. "She's a bitch. She's probably just jealous cause even in boy form Naruto's better looking than her. Hell, Naruto eclipses that chick." Hiro's friend, Jun, elbowed him in the side, trying to speak out of the side of his mouth. "Don't say shit like that about Naruto in front of Shikamaru." Shikamaru rolled his eyes. "I don't care. Hiro's right anyway. Just keep an eye on those two. Something doesn't feel right there." Danny snorted. "Of course not. That Sakura chick is using Naruto cause she knows she can and Naruto is too kind-hearted to stop her." Jun piped up, adding to his father's statement. "It's not a bad thing that Naruto is so kind, it's just that she's clearly tired from working in the village non-stop." Everyone keeps asking things from her. A heavy feeling settled into the pit of Shikamaru's stomach. Frowning, he tried to evaluate what the feeling meant, but as he did, he felt himself becoming angry and disheartened, clouding his thoughts. He decided to stop, and instead focus on what a good day he had had. Naruto had the entire clan looking out for her, and he knew that if he wasn't able to work out how to help her, someone else in the clan would. That was the only thought that soothed the uncomfortable feeling in his stomach. Naruto didn't return home for dinner that night, nor had she made an appearance by the time Shikamaru went to bed just after 10 o'clock. When he woke up the next day, he could see the imprint on the bed and pillow that showed Naruto had been to bed, but her side was cold. Rolling over, Shikamaru spotted a note sitting against the picture of Naruto. Rubbing sleep out of his eyes and trying to focus on the words, he read the note. Gone to help Sakura again. I wouldn't say no to lunch with you if you want to come get me. If not, I'll hopefully be home for dinner. Naruto XX. With a sigh, he dragged himself out of bed. Putting the note back where he found it, he made his way to the bathroom for a shower. When he was dressed, he found Ino in the living room with Sai so that she could bandage his leg again. Shikamaru was surprised to a member of Team Kakashi sitting around his house, since he had assumed they were all busy. When he voiced such a thing, Sai frowned at him. Sakura didn't ask for my help, Sai admitted, giving an awkward, unnatural shrug. She probably chose Naruto because on the few occasions we have been given a mission to do with reorganizing storerooms, Naruto has always made clones. I don't even think Naruto realizes that she ends up doing most of the work because of that. Ino, who had finished wrapping Shikamaru's leg, looked at Sai in confusion. But even if Naruto can make clones in a normal circumstance, why does she end up doing all the work? And her chakra hasn't fully restored, so making multiple clones will stall her recovery. The Nine Tails did some damage on Naruto's chakra after all. Sakura usually is the organizer, so she would tell us what to do. I was the one to stack the boxes when they were filled according to where they had to go, and Naruto would be the one to fill the boxes. Sai's eyebrows nearly met when he took in Ino's and Shikamaru's expressions. I have said something that upsets you both. You basically just said that Sakura is making Naruto do all the work? Shikamaru snapped. He went to get up, only for Ino to stop him, giving him a hard look. Have you been doing your exercises to strengthen your leg? When Shikamaru avoided her eye, Ino put her hands on her hips. Well, you're not leaving here until you do. Ino turned to Sai. Since you're on the same team as those two, can you start pointing out that Naruto shouldn't have to do everything, just cause she's strong, please? Sai thought over what they had said to him before nodding. It's possible Naruto hasn't told Sakura about her low chakra. If that is true, it would explain why Sakura thought Naruto alone would be able to handle the job. When Shikamaru finished his rather simple stretches and exercises, which were admittedly straining on his leg, he decided to hold off finding Naruto until he had an excuse to pull her away from Sakura. He was also rather angry, and he didn't want to greet Naruto with it still boiling in his stomach. He instead waited until lunchtime. He took the lunches that his mother had made for him and Naruto, and went looking for the blonde. He had found the number of the medical warehouse scribbled on the back of the note Naruto had written to him. He found Sakura sitting on a crate, a clipboard on her lap. She was talking to one of the Naruto clones with a frustrated tone. You've already shown me that. And I told you that we don't need any more of them. Naruto shrugged. You told another Naruto, not me. Sakura sighed. You keep doing this. Can't you just dispel like normal so the others know not to keep grabbing the same items? No. I don't have enough chakra. You should eat more of my food pills. They will help restore your chakra. Sakura rolled her eyes. Or Naruto can take more breaks, and not make clones, Shikamaru pointed out. When Naruto looked at him, he smiled, holding up the bentos by the string tied around them. You requested lunch? Naruto grinned before she and the other Narutos that could be seen disappeared. The real Naruto jumped out from behind some crates that were stacked vicariously. She ran up to Shikamaru, hugging him. With a crutch in one hand and the bentos in the other hand, he wasn't able to return the hug, but Naruto didn't seem to mind. I'm surprised you brought us lunch, Sakura commented, putting the clipboard to the side. I didn't, Shikamaru blatantly replied. I brought lunch for Naruto and I. Any ideas where we should eat, Naruto? I know of a nice place by the river if your leg is okay with the walk. Naruto took the bentos, silently deciding she would carry them. Sounds good to me. They turned to leave, but Sakura piped up. Wait, we still have more to do here. Too bad, Shikamaru retorted, leading Naruto out of the warehouse before Sakura could guilt her into staying. Naruto took them to a shady spot by the river. It was not far up the river from where Asuma-sensei and Shikamaru had stumbled across Naruto and Lord Jiraiya years before. They sat on the bank, comfortably eating their lunches. When they were finished, Shikamaru decided to ask about Sakura's behavior and Naruto's absence the night before. Why did Sakura get you to help her? She could have asked other healers, or some genins. The blonde blushed in embarrassment. She pointed out that I am a genin, so it is my job to do that stuff. And I can make clones. But she kept getting annoyed that I didn't know what equipment was on the list, and even when she told me the names of the stuff, I didn't know what it was. Naruto took some deep breaths, her eyes taking on that desperate look Shikamaru had started to fear. I know that people need the medical supplies, so I stayed up all night taking the supplies I had already boxed to the hospital. Even though that meant I had to eat Sakura's mud balls instead of eating dinner with you. I can't even tell her that they taste horrible, and they don't actually restore any of my chakra. She gets upset if I don't eat them. She put a lot of time into them, and she thinks they're helpful but they aren't. And making so many clones hurts. Why didn't you just tell her that you can't make clones? Shikamaru asked softly when Naruto finally stopped rambling to take a breath. 'Cause I've let her down enough. I couldn't return Sasuke to her, twice now, and the village was destroyed because of me. The least I can do is help with some medical supplies. Besides, Sakura has been working to help the injured. She's as exhausted as everyone else is. Everyone is working so hard to fix what pain did trying to get to me. The village is this way, because of me. People are dead, because of me. So the least I can do is help the village heal, no matter what. Naruto! Shikamaru yelped. When Naruto continued to gasp for breath, he grasped her shoulders, shaking her gently. You need to calm down. Please! You're scaring me. The blonde's breathing started to even out slowly, but her eyes still held a dazed, panicked look. She leant into Shikamaru when he pulled her to him, holding her tightly. Her fingers dug into his shoulders as she grasped his shirt in her fists. Her heartbeat pounded against Shikamaru's chest. After a shaky breath, Naruto buried her face in Shikamaru's neck. Just relax. I've got you. Calm down, alright? He stroked her back, feeling her hands flatten against his chest before curling into fists again. Naruto shifted in his arms, moving to sit more easily in Shikamaru's lap. As she made herself situated with her knees either side of his legs, she started kissing his neck. Shikamaru's gasp of surprise did little to distract Naruto, and instead she moved to kiss his mouth. It was forceful but desperate. Naruto clung onto the front of Shikamaru's shirt as she pushed into him, making him fall back to lie on the ground. As one of Naruto's hands pressed against the ground, the other slid up Shikamaru's shirt. Electricity shot through his limbs. One of his hands disappeared into Naruto's hair, pulling her closer to deepen the kiss, whilst the other grasped her hip tightly. Naruto pressed form into his, her hands clumsily pawing at his shirt. Shikamaru had enough of his senses still intact to draw a deep breath through his nose, clearing the fog that had settled over his mind. When he could think reasonably straight, he grabbed Naruto's shoulders, softly pushing her back. Stop! Naruto rose up on her hands, looking down at him with bafflement. What's wrong? I thought you wanted this. But do you? Shikamaru whispered, looking her in the eyes. I liked being with you, Naruto said uncertainly. You don't have to do this to be with me, though. Shikamaru sighed, sitting up slowly, Naruto still situated in his lap. The fact that you can't answer me shows me you don't even know what you want. I'm sorry if I made it seem like you had to. I know what I want. Naruto snapped, though her expression said otherwise. It's alright if you don't, Shikamaru started. But I do. Naruto insisted. I want you to be happy, and I want to be with you. And if that's not what I want? He asked slowly. Would you still want it then? Naruto groaned loudly, grabbing her head. You don't know me. Shoving Shikamaru, she jumped to her feet, running off. The dark-haired man sat up, sighing so deeply his shoulders sunk. Once he found the strength, he rose to his feet and made his way back to the estate. To ensure he wouldn't run into anyone in the house, he skirted around the back, sitting on the porch and staring up at the sky. He had finally done it, and his father had been right. He wasn't sure how long he sat leaning against the wall, but he vaguely registered when it became dark, a chill nipping through the air. He barely noticed his father jump when he spotted Shikamaru sitting in the dark. As the older Nara slowly walked closer, Shikamaru turned his head to face him, letting the moonlight hit the tear tracks running down his face. You were right, he whispered, his voice raw. I didn't want to know. Shikaka sighed, walking closer and sitting down next to his son against the wall, groaning. He made no other noise as they looked at the moon. He took a shaky breath, wiping at his tears roughly only for them to quickly be replaced. I'm terrified of Naruto accepting my feelings. I finally realize what Asuma-sensei meant. If Naruto doesn't return my feelings, she will pretend that she does just to make me happy, and so she doesn't break my heart. She will accept them. I can't tell her. What if she does return your feelings? His father whispered. How will I ever be sure, knowing how ridiculously selfless she is? Ironically, it's one of the things I love about her. I know she likes me. I can see that, but I don't know if she loves me, and if her feelings for me one day go away, she won't ever say so if she knows how much I care. She will do anything I want. She'll do anything anyone wants, as long as it makes them happy. Shikaka sighed. Shikamaru, did you ever think that Naruto deserves to know? She has the right to know that every gesture, touch, smile, that you give her isn't just friendly. She has the right to know your intentions. I'm surprised that she doesn't already. The strength of her denial is palpable. Maybe part of her does know, she just doesn't know how far my feelings go. I know part of her sees that Sakura doesn't treat her right, but she doesn't want to hurt Sakura, so she stays quiet. It's the same with the village. She knows they would all understand if she told them she needed to rest, but she doesn't want them to be burdened. She doesn't want them to stop liking her, and I think she's scared of what will happen if she disappointed any of us. Shikamaru shook his head, swallowing thickly. That might be where Inoichi's concerns lie. She can't bring herself to let anyone down, make anyone dislike her at all. She has been fighting for so long to be important that she doesn't want to lose it. Instead, she's letting herself be crushed under the weight. Naruto is used to the village hating her, so this admiration is something she is scared of, and she's trying to help everyone so they don't turn on her. I feared this would happen when you first told me of your issue with the idea of Naruto accepting your feelings. The girl doesn't know how to process emotions and instead does what is needed or what others want instead of what she wants. Shikaka ran a hand down his face. I had hoped that by the time you realized the issue it would have resolved itself. Shikamaru gave a dry chuckle. I think I'm Naruto's biggest problem. I have the most control over her, and the most potential to hurt her. I think I need to distance myself from her until she starts living for herself. He swore when his father smacked him over the head. What the hell was that for? For being stupid, Shikaka growled. Pulling away from Naruto now will just make her think she's done something wrong. It will be giving you more power, not less. If you want an equal power dynamic, one where Naruto can be comfortable expressing herself, then you need to work on bring that side of her out. And not just with you, but with everyone. That teammate of hers treats Naruto so badly because Naruto never stops her. It's never crossed the girl's mind that she's using Naruto. You need to support Naruto and show her that her feelings matter. And how do I do that? Shikamaru snapped, a hand still on the bump on his head. I don't know. You're the one in love with her. Relationships involve helping each other and supporting each other. So start doing that. Shikaka stood. If you've hurt her, apologize, but set boundaries to that doesn't happen again. He didn't get a chance to talk to Naruto that night. When she came home, she declined dinner and went to sleep in the room she and Ino shared. The next morning she had been dragged off to a team meeting with Kakashi-sensei and Sakura. Shikamaru discovered not long after that he had other issues to deal with. Even the fact that Ino had taken off his bandage and declared his leg healed didn't help lighten events. His father had came home and instantly opened a bottle of sake, ordering clan members to find Yoshino and Momiji and bring them to the house personally, as well as ordering 3 clan members to retrieve Choza and Aiko. Inoichi looked at his friend with concern, only getting a firm shake of his head before Shikaku returned to his drink. When the group had been assembled, including Ino, Choji, and Shikamaru, Shikaku took a breath that shook his whole body. Lady Tsunade has been stripped of her title of Hokage, Shikaku started, silencing whatever Ino was about to say with a look. Danzo has been named 6th Hokage. Inoichi swore, his fists clenched and his face pinched. Is this a sick joke? Wait, who's Danzo? Choji asked, only to receive a dark look from his father. No one you want to meet. There's more, Shikaku grunted. Of course there is, Inoichi spat. Danzo has declared Sasuke Uchiha a rogue ninja. Where's Naruto? Momiji asked in distress. I ordered Kiba to find her, and only tell her the news if Kakashi was with her. Shikaku turned his eyes onto the 2nd generation of Ino Shikacho. This is going to take some explaining, and you aren't going to like any of it. As you know, Naruto is the 4th Hokage's daughter. Her mother was the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki before her. Even without the Nine-Tails, everyone expected Naruto to be strong. When the beast was put into her, Danzo wanted to put her into his organization, the Foundation. The 3rd refused and instead he gave Naruto to Inoichi. I couldn't take her in because not only did Yoshino suffer losses at the hands of the Nine-Tails and was therefore grieving, I had already made us a target for Danzo when I informed the 3rd that Danzo was going to make a move for the Hokage position. We had then orchestrated to have Minato take over instead. For that he sent some of his ninja to attack me, Yoshino explained, a hand to her stomach. That's the real reason I was lucky to have you, Shikamaru. The jutsu they used should have made me infertile, but we still managed to have you. Then he set his sights on us, Momiji picked up, looking at Ino sadly. Ninjas attacked one night when you were 1.5, pretending to go after you. Naruto must have unknowingly sensed their hostile chakra because she started screaming and woke us up. As though to make sure we got the message that keeping Naruto was dangerous, a week later I was poisoned. Your sickness, Ino gasped. But can't someone fix it? Anyone we asked for help ended up injured. Danzo tried to get the 3rd to hand over Naruto, saying it was too dangerous if we could barely protect our own daughter. The threat was pretty clear to us. Inoichi sighed. We never wanted to give Naruto up, but since we were her guardians, we were able to put her in the orphanage instead. The midwife there was a respectable ninja from the 2nd Great Ninja War. She had been rewarded after she was badly injured with the duty of protecting the next generation. But Naruto started pulling away from everyone and eventually she asked to be allowed out of the orphanage. The 3rd and I agreed because the midwife couldn't handle her. Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji shared a look, silently agreeing to not tell the parents what the respectable midwife had done. When she was attacked, Shikaku picked up after handing his sake bottle to Inoichi. Danzo made another attempt to get her into his clutches. Did he cause the attack? Shikamaru asked, trying to keep his voice level. Shikaku shrugged. I honestly don't know. It wouldn't have surprised me if he had been planning something, but then the attack happened and he saw an opportunity. But unfortunately for him, Inoichi was still down as Naruto's legal guardian. Once Naruto entered the academy, Danzo couldn't touch her. At the confused looks he elaborated. Iruka's sensory chakra is almost on par with Naruto's. How do you think he always found you when you skipped class? He kept an eye on any threats coming the girl's way and he protected her. And once Naruto graduated, she became a ninja of the leaf. Going after her would have given the 3rd every reason to have Danzo arrested and the Foundation dismantled. Part of me wishes he had. Shikaku gripped his hair in frustration. Now that he is Hokage, he will be looking for an excuse to lock Naruto up. He can't go after her without cause though, because Naruto is much beloved in the village and someone leaked to people that the Foundation hadn't been in the battle against Pain. Oops. Danzo was obviously hoping that Lady Tsunade would be killed or grievously injured enough that he could take over. He's put the hit on Sasuke so that Naruto will confront Danzo, Shikamaru reasoned. But Kakashi-sensei will be able to stop her. Unfortunately, there is no way of changing Danzo's order. Sasuke attacked the Jinchuriki from the cloud. The man was the Reikige's brother. The cloud will see Sasuke dead. But that will lead to Naruto and Sakura seeking revenge, Choji gasped. We will be at risk of a war if it escalates. Shikamaru grunted. He's our comrade. We should work on a plan to stop that from happening. Dad, are we at risk of Danzo attacking us? I don't know. The Nara clan is opening harboring Naruto. The Yamanakas have always been on Naruto's side. And so are the Akimichi, Choza added proudly. 3 of the biggest clans support Naruto, and so does the heir of the Hyuga clan. Naruto has a lot of weight behind her, so if she and Danzo do come to blows, he will be looking at pacifying us quickly. Which is why you women are to have guards with you at all time, Shikaka added, looking at the 3 wives and Ino. We know from personal experience that Danzo likes attacking you to send a message. You might be strong, but he plays dirty. I won't let that happen again. Until we know what we can do, we will be on our guards at all times. Shikamaru nodded before turning to his 2 teammates. We have to get the others. I have an idea, but it's one we all need to agree on. But we are leaving Team Kakashi out of it until then. And don't worry, Uncle Inoichi and Momiji will stop Naruto from being harmed. The 3 of them set out, Choji and Shikamaru keeping Ino between them. To attack them in the open would have been idiotic, but after finding out the fates of 2 of their mothers, they weren't risking anything. They made a beeline for Hinata's estate first. Simply telling Niji to guard Hinata whilst the new Hokage got comfortable was enough to alert him to what they insinuated. With the 2 cousins' help, they were able to track down the rest of their friends. Lee and Tenten were the last, having been working on the rebuilding. When they were all gathered, Shikamaru separated himself, finding Izumo and Kotetsu and seeing if they knew more about Sasuke's situation. Thankfully, they did. They had been the ones on duty when the ninjas of the cloud had arrived. There was no doubt it had been Sasuke, wearing the Akatsuki robes and the Uchiha insignia. He had returned to the group resolute. He could think of nothing to remove Sasuke from the rogue ninja list. The Hokage wanted him there to force Naruto's hand, and the Reikage wanted him there because Sasuke had attacked a member of his village and his brother. One look at his face was all Ino needed before tears started to well in her eyes. The fact that he had to explain the situation to the rest made him feel horrible. If Sasuke has lost his way so drastically, what do we do? Niji asked, a hand on Hinata's shoulder. If a ninja of the cloud kills Sasuke, Naruto or Sakura will go after them. If one of them dies, Ino or I will go after the cloud, dragging our fathers and Choji into it. It will escalate, simply because Sasuke chose the wrong path. Shikamaru rubbed his forehead. Naruto has no doubt realized this, but her first goal is to save Sasuke. She will think of the most complicated answer that will be the hardest to succeed at. What's the easiest answer? Choji questioned, obviously picking up on what Shikamaru was avoiding. If we break the line of revenge before it starts. If someone of the leaf kills Sasuke, then there will be no true hate to distill. Naruto and Sakura might hate those who did it, but they can't seek revenge on a fellow ninja of the leaf who was simply doing what is best for the village. They will understand. They might understand, Ino said, sniffling, but Naruto will likely hate whoever delivered the killing blow. You need to stay out of it. If I have to, I will kill him, Shikamaru admitted with a hollow voice. Sasuke has hurt Naruto enough. I won't let her die because I failed to drag that idiot home. It's what is best for her. She's already taken on too much and is struggling under the weight. We need to do what is best for her, and what is best for the village. And that is killing Sasuke. Ino's tears came more strongly at that statement, choking any words she might have wanted to say. Choji sat down on the planks of wood beside her, putting a comforting hand on her shoulder. With a resolute sigh, Shikamaru went over to the tent he had seen Sai walk into. Standing just outside, he could hear Sai telling Sakura how Naruto cared about her deeply and was suffering because of her failure to fulfill her promise to Sakura. Not being able to handle listening to Sai talk about how broken Naruto was, he pushed the flap of the tent aside, telling the two Team 7 members that he needed to talk to them. Sakura took the news better than he expected her to and asked to be the one to tell Naruto. Part of Shikamaru wanted to tell her that he would do it, but two things stopped the words in his throat. The first was that he might have been the last person Naruto wanted to see after the day before. He wasn't sure if she would be angry, hurt, embarrassed, or even cold to him. From what he could evaluate, the other day had been her trying to do what she thought he wanted, so perhaps a part of her was relieved he had stopped her. The second thing that made him want to hand the burden to Sakura was that he would have to tell Naruto that he had decided to kill her best friend. The idea of hurting her like that, and ruining any chance he had with her, made him want to run. When he nodded to Sakura's demand, he knew he was being a coward and selfish, but he reasoned that the news should be delivered by someone who cared for Sasuke as much as Naruto did, so that the blonde could understand how hard the decision had been. Once Kiba, Lee, and Sai left to escort Sakura to where Naruto was, the rest stayed where they were. None of them said a word. Instead, it was as though they were all holding their breaths. Shikamaru kept looking towards the gates, expecting to see Naruto running through them, ready to scream in her childish manner that they were all wrong, and that there was a third option, other than killing Sasuke or begging the Raikage to take his name off the rogue ninja list. However, that never came. They all waited for hours for the group to return with word of how Naruto reacted. Choji ignored his growling stomach. Ino's tears had turned into soft hiccups as she wiped her face on a handkerchief that Niji had handed her, and Shikamaru took advantage of his maneuverability to pace back and forth in front of the group. Hinata had her eyes trained on the gate. When she gasped, Shikamaru stopped his pacing, stumbling. She was pointing off in the distance. At first Shikamaru couldn't see anything, but slowly he started to make out multiple figures, one clearly being a dog. When he noticed Naruto's bright hair, he looked at Hinata and Niji for answers. Both groups are returning, Hinata explained. But something is wrong. Most of them look angry and Naruto looks broken. Captain Yamato is fussing over her. Something must have gone wrong. Niji folded his arms, watching the group draw closer. When the teams came through the gate, they easily spotted the waiting group. Naruto gave them a half-hearted smile before muttering something about going to sit down somewhere. Sakura tried to tell Naruto that she should go to a medic tent, but the blonde kept walking, pretending to not hear her. Sakura was prevented from going anywhere by the hold Kiba took on her arm. "Do you want to tell the others what you did?" Kiba asked darkly. "Kakashi-sensei," Sakura yelped. "I have to sort out this Hokage mess." "Come on, Tenzo." Kakashi-sensei breezed past, though none of them missed the disappointed and disdainful look he shot his student. "I told you to not call me that," Captain Yamato snapped, following Kakashi-sensei, blatantly ignoring Sakura. "What happened?" Choji asked, standing up and crossing his arms. "Where to start?" Kiba drawled. "Oh, how about with Sakura screwing us all over and trying to manipulate Naruto?" He squeezed Sakura's arm when she tried to speak in her defense. "She didn't tell Naruto about our plan to save the village and save Naruto more heartache. Instead, she confessed her love to Naruto, saying that he didn't need to go after Sasuke anymore because Sakura didn't care about him. Even when Naruto yelled at her to cut it out, she wouldn't, and instead got angry at Naruto for not accepting and returning her feelings. Then she decided to go after Sasuke herself. I made a clone that doubled back to tell Naruto the truth," Sai sighed, fury filling his usually emotionless eyes. "You devastated Naruto. He had a panic attack and lost consciousness. Kakashi-sensei, Captain Yamato, and I were terrified." Shikamaru held up a hand, hoping that everyone would stop. His mind felt like it was moving both too fast and too slow at the same time. Bile started building in his throat. His mind snapped back into focus at a loud bang. He took in the scene before him, trying to work out where the noise had come from. Sakura was no longer in Kiba's grasp. Instead, Hinata stood before her, rage filling her expression. The pink-haired girl had a shocked look and a red handprint on her cheek. Just as Shikamaru realized what must have caused the bang, Hinata lifted her hand, slapping Sakura's other cheek with equal force. "How dare you! How dare you!" Hinata screeched. We made the plan to protect Naruto, but you're self-centered enough that you think loving him is enough for him to give up on Sasuke. You are pathetic. That's not all, Lee warned, shooting a glare at Sakura. She knocked us unconscious so that she could fight Sasuke on her own. Kakashi-sensei and Naruto both had to jump in to rescue her, and she ended up cutting Naruto with a poison blade. That's why he needed to sit down. Hinata gave a hollow laugh. You actually thought you were a match for Sasuke? You're not even a match for me, and I know I can't beat Sasuke or Naruto. What about Naruto? Ino asked in a shaky voice. Is Naruto okay? Niji, Hinata, Shikamaru snapped. Find Naruto for me. By the river, near a willow tree. Thanks, Niji, I know the one. Shikamaru took off running, ignoring the angry voices aimed at Sakura. They could deal with her, he had more important things to do. He found Naruto sitting by the bank, staring at the water. She gave no reaction when he walked up to her and sat beside her. She pulled her knees up to her chest, hugging them tightly. Slowly, she let out a breath. When I was younger, I used to be envious of fish, Naruto comments lightly. I would see them swim past, going wherever they wanted. I wanted that freedom. And they always were swimming with another fish, they were never alone. Fish swimming together are called a school. He was aware of her gaps in knowledge. His fact was rewarded with a small smile. Are you still envious of fish? I'm not the fish, Naruto answers in a dark voice. She turns her head to look at Shikamaru, tears pooling in her blue eyes. Sasuke is? What are you? The words are weak. His mind, for once, didn't want the answers to his questions. It begged for Naruto to ignore him. His heart, however, waited, its beats fast but silent. Naruto looked back at the water. Finally she opened her mouth, speaking as though she had known for a long time the answer. I'm the fishing rod, and Sakura is the fisherman. Once she gets her fish, I'm no use anymore. Yet you're going to get Sakura her fish anyway. Shikamaru hoped that the slaps Hinata gave that girl hurt. That's what a fishing rod does. Naruto gave him a hollow smile as though it was all a cruel joke that she couldn't help but play out until the punchline. I'm not sure how to word this analog properly, but just because you're a tool to those two doesn't mean you're not a fish to the rest of us. He thought over the sentence. It was definitely the most unusual he had spoken. Naruto snorted before she grinned, laughing loudly. She didn't even try to quiet her amusement. Eventually she settled down, looking over at Shikamaru, still smiling. That is both the strangest and sweetest thing anyone has ever said to me. Thank you for calling me a fish. He couldn't help but shake his head at the conversation he found himself in. Only Naruto could rope him into truly strange situations. I think we both need sleep. At those words the woman started to shake her head. I don't want to sleep, I don't want to move. She sounded almost desperate. Her hand grabbed Shikamaru's, her tears returning. Can we just sit here and be fish, please? Of course. He put his arm around Naruto's shoulders, pulling her to his side. She willingly moved into him, putting her head on his shoulder. Is everything all right? Please tell me the truth. No. It's hard to breathe. I feel like there are a million things I have to do and I can't do any of them. You don't need to do everything yourself. You all want to kill Sasuke. We don't want to kill him. We knew that if someone from another village killed him, that you or Sakura would seek revenge and then someone from that village would retaliate. That's what I was trying to stop. I know. But we knew it wouldn't work. So, I came up with a plan that would stop the cycle before it began. If someone from our village dealt with Sasuke, then there would be no revenge to seek. We decided to leave you out of this because you had already done so much for the village. None of us wanted to ask for more, and we all thought you deserved to sit out of this one. Sakura and her team were meant to explain the situation to you, comfort you, but she changed the plan without telling anyone. He paused, rubbing Naruto's arm. Are you mad at me? At all of us? A deep breath was pulled into Naruto's body, making her form push against Shikamaru's side. She released it with one word. Yes. If you want the truth, that's it. I'm mad, and I'm scared, and I can't breathe. Naruto moved out of Shikamaru's grasp, a glare on her face though having nowhere to aim it. And everyone is so worried about the Jinchuriki. That's what I am to everyone. A thing. A box for something everyone despises but so many people want. Why can't someone just see me, only me, and want to do something because of who I am? Naruto, Shikamaru started softly. We didn't make the plan because of the Nine Tails. None of us even thought about him. We just wanted to stop you from suffering. What? Naruto gasped, tears carving paths down her face. But Sakura said that I shouldn't be out of the village cause I'm the Jinchuriki. Sakura is a bitch, Shikamaru stated plainly. She didn't make the plan, I did. I told the others and they all agreed it was the best way to spare you. Not the Nine Tails, but you. Naruto buried her face in her hands, tears leaking through her fingers. Shikamaru wrapped his arms around her, resting his chin on her head as he rubbed her back. Tell me what you plan to do with Sasuke and I will do everything I can to make it happen. Just tell me what you want and I'll give it to you. I convinced Sasuke to leave all the villages alone. I told him that when Madara has been dealt with I'll find him, and we can have a battle to the death. I will stand in for the village. Naruto sniffled, slowly raising her head to look Shikamaru in the eye. I want you to help me make a battle plan. I want to go into that fight having ways I know I can win. Sasuke and I are evenly matched. I want you to help me tip it in my favor. Shikamaru pushed a lock of hair out of her eyes. Then that's what I'll do. You need to start letting yourself feel and want things, instead of doing what others want. Naruto nodded numbly before curling back into his chest, her cries still shaking through her body. He sat and held her, letting her shed all the pain she had kept bottled up for so long. Chapter 56, Knowing. Kakashi's POV. He already hated being Hokage and he hadn't even officially been given the title. Firstly, Guy had challenged him to a race through the village that had naturally escalated to them dodging around people and throwing random objects at each other. When the race had finished, he had barely been able to catch his breath before he was strong-armed by an old, rather cranky, man into letting him get the measurements of his face. Kakashi certainly hoped this was the official stone carver of the village, and not some random man. When the man had tried to rip off his mask, Kakashi had ran. He didn't want a carving of himself hovering over the village, especially without his mask on. Every time he saw it he would see his father, and that thought was too heavy to hold. He had spotted Yamato and Aaliyah talking outside one of the food tents and had quickly darted around them, spitting out a quick "you didn't see me" before hiding inside. The two laughed, but at least they passed on his lie when the sculptor's assistant came asking about him. Unfortunately, that meant he had to deal with the amused expressions on two of his ex-subordinates. He longed for the days that he could order them to do boring tasks as punishment for being smart with him. Though, since Aaliyah had been assigned to his team to monitor his mental state, she rarely reacted to his punishments, instead choosing to smile at him and pat his head as though he was a good dog. "Are you going to tell us why you're hiding from a kid?" Yamato asked, a smirk twitching on his lips. "I wasn't hiding from the kid, I was hiding from his grandfather." After he said that, he realized how it sounded. He scoffed at their laughter. "I have so much faith in our new Hokage," Yamato went on, "don't you, Aaliyah?" "Well, at least I don't have to worry about him wondering what color my underwear is," Aaliyah retorted, patting Yamato's chest sadly before walking over to one of the tables. "I wasn't," the dark-haired man yelped, blushing dark. "I don't know, Aaliyah can tell what people are thinking and feeling quite easily," Kakashi teased. "I'm liable to believe her. Though if you ask her nicely, she might tell you what color they are, Tenzo." "I don't want to know and don't call me that," Yamato huffed, sitting next to a sniggering Aaliyah. He waited for the other two to calm down before turning to Kakashi. The look on his face told the older man what topic they were about to discuss. "I talked to Shikamaru. Naruto has eaten and is resting, but she is still shaken." Oh, he looked at Aaliyah, who raised an eyebrow. "You already knew about Naruto's gender, didn't you?" "No," Aaliyah drawled, "because I am horrible at the skills that got me into the Umbu. It's not like it's my job to be able to read people's secrets off their faces and such. A woman who doesn't want to hide is the hardest to read." "Well, if you've had a chance to get a red off Naruto, what do you think is getting to her so badly? Do you know how to fix it?" Kakashi asked, studying the woman in front of him. She is scared, and confused, and feels like she has to keep making people happy so they won't turn on her again. There's more going on, but that's the read I was able to get off her. I only met her a month ago, and her issues run too deep for me to assess without her trust. As for how to help her, she's right there, just ask. Aaliyah pointed outside the tent where the three could see Naruto off in the distance, vaguely holding conversation with two civilians. Kakashi called Naruto over. She waved off the civilians and slowly walked towards them. Her steps were unbalanced, her skin paled, her eyes dull, and somehow her hair was also limp and dry. Naruto always radiated an energy that neither of her parents had had. She was vibrant, colorful, loud, and optimistic. Now, however, it looked like every step she took, every breath she breathed was taking more energy than she had to give. When she reached them, she gave them a weak smile, sitting down heavily as though her legs couldn't carry her any longer. I thought you were resting at the Nara estate, Kakashi commented, eyeing her in case she toppled off the bench. I wanted to go for a walk, Naruto muttered. He knew that statement was touching on something more but wasn't sure how to touch onto the subject. He looked at Aaliyah for help and almost face-palmed when the woman spoke to Naruto. What thought are you running away from? Surprisingly, Naruto sighed. Shikamaru said something weird to me. Figuring that Aaliyah's blunt approach was worth a try, Kakashi cleared his throat. And what did he say? That I don't do what I want and instead do what everyone else wants. He is really upset about it. Kakashi narrowed his eye. Do you think he's wrong? Well, I want to help the village, and doing what they want helps them. That's a good point, Aaliyah spoke up, ignoring the shocked looks from Kakashi and Yamato. Oh, you heard about how Danzo caused a mess at the Kage summit, right? Well, between that and the Uchiha kid attacking the Eight Tails Jinchuriki, the tension between us and the Cloud are escalating. Luckily, a plan has been made to fix that. It's been decided that since the Cloud is the wrong party, they are allowed to choose someone of note from the Leaf to marry the Raikage. They decided the hero of the Leaf. When Naruto looked at her in confusion, Aaliyah elaborated. You! They chose you to marry the Raikage. Oh, Naruto breathed, sitting back. She looked lost for words, her eyes flickering around the tent. Aye, if the village needs it. Kakashi groaned. Do you hear what you're saying? The man you met, the one who was rude to you, and wants to kill Sasuke, you'd marry him if the village wanted it? Really? Naruto looked away, her shoulders sunk. She looked back towards him multiple times, clearly trying to find words to what she was feeling. She was rarely at such a loss that Kakashi felt guilty for putting her into the situation they had created. However, he knew Aaliyah was skilled at getting to the issues and getting them out in the best way for each person. Naruto would benefit from this moment later on, even if she didn't look back on it with positive emotions. Naruto, Kakashi started slowly. You are allowed to put your feelings first at times. When Naruto continued to look confused, he sighed. What about Sakura? How do you feel about what she did? She was trying to help me, Naruto muttered weakly. Aaliyah tapped on the table twice before tapping her heart. Kakashi recognized the gesture from years of working with her. With guilt welling inside, Kakashi gave a subtle nod, letting the woman take over. Her plan had an abundance of flaws, you must see that. When Naruto shrugged, avoiding the other woman's eye, Aaliyah went on. So you have no issues with what she did? Even if what she did was done by someone you care about. A man you might have feelings for. Imagine if that man came up to you and confessed his love for you to manipulate you. Naruto's face pinched. He wouldn't do that. Imagine he did, coaxed Yamato. Replace the image of Sakura confessing her love for you with someone you actually have feelings for, but you know he is lying to you. The blonde started to shake before her fist slammed down onto the table. The wood groaned painfully. She glared at Yamato. He wouldn't do that to me. Naruto snapped. Why are you doing this? How do you know he wouldn't do what Sakura did? Prodded Kakashi, holding in a wince. Because, Naruto stammered. Because he wouldn't do that to me. It's mean and painful, and what if I believed him? What would he do then? Telling me a lie wouldn't stop me from going after Sasuke, and he would know that. Like Sakura did. Why did she do that? It was selfish and only hurt me. She only sees me as the Ninetales, but I'm not. I'm a strong ninja, and if she was really my friend, she wouldn't have done that to me. Naruto finished her rant with a pant, her eyes wide. The look of shock on her face matched the expressions on the three Jonins' faces. She turned her eyes onto Kakashi, making bile well in his stomach. Why are you doing this to me? He opened his mouth to try and explain, but Naruto jumped up, running off. He shared a look with his two friends before they raced after Naruto. They caught up to the blonde as she ran into a building sector. She tried to run in another direction but was blocked by people bringing in building material. When she tried to find another way out of the area, Kakashi grabbed her shoulders. She turned, throwing off his hand. No! I don't want to! Stop making me feel! I don't want to! Why does everyone want me to hurt? Naruto's yelling had drawn a crowd, including Shikamaru. Kakashi, looking at the tears running down Naruto's pale face, wished everyone would give the woman privacy. Feelings only cause pain. They hurt. Why can't I just not feel? Naruto started to hyperventilate. She collapsed to the ground, hugging herself. My heart is meant to be iron. The Jonin noticed some in the crowd ushering other, bewildered observers away. The looks these select few gave Naruto were not of sympathy but of empathy. By the time Naruto choked on her tears, dropping her head onto her knees, only the three Jonins, Shikamaru, and a green-haired man remained close to the blonde, others spying on Naruto from behind half-established building. It was the last person who spoke first. I know, Naruto. It's hard, but you have to remember that you're safe now. It's okay to feel things and to act on those feelings. He crouched down so he wasn't towering over her. I know you were taught otherwise, but you don't have to be afraid to be honest with yourself. Naruto shook her head, not looking up at them. No! Varrick, it hurts. If I don't feel, it doesn't hurt. True, Varrick agreed. You don't get any of the bad, but you don't get any of the good either. And there's so much good around you. Naruto, you don't need to do whatever others want you to do. People won't start turning on you if you put your needs ahead of their wants. The man looked at Shikamaru, cocking his head at Naruto. Slowly the Nara walked up to Naruto, hugging her to him. Just breathe, he whispered, shooting a hard look at Kakashi over Naruto's head. We're not trying to cause you pain. We want to help. Just take a breath and tell us something you need. Something little if it helps. I just need everything to stop, Naruto sniffled. I just want to stop. Stop asking me to do something that makes it hard to breathe. Naruto, Aaliyah started softly, everyone wants to help you. We aren't trying to cause you pain, we're trying to get you to speak for yourself. The blonde stilled before slowly standing and looking at the three Jonins. They could see that Naruto was steeling herself, as though expecting retaliation. I want to stop talking to you three and I want to go home. Kakashi nodded. Okay. The look of surprise and suspicion on Naruto's face filled the sensei with heartache. Something in her was broken, had been for so long that Kakashi wondered how she had hid it from everyone so well. Shikamaru drew Naruto into his arms, kissing her temple. Alright, let's go home. After Shikamaru had led Naruto away, Kakashi looked at Aaliyah and Yamato, wondering what to do. Yamato noticed Varrick start to walk away and told him to stop. What's wrong with Naruto? He asked the man. You know, don't you? The man sighed. Yes. It's one of the ways Mrs. Haruma broke us. She would take our feeling or our desires and use them to hurt us. At times when we did something she didn't like, the one we cared for the most was punished, and not us. Sometimes for the smallest things. And Naruto was her favorite victim. So to protect others, Naruto stopped feeling and stopped wanting. How did this Haruma do this? How haven't we heard about this abuse? Yamato asked. Varrick snorted in derision. Didn't I just say she broke us? Even when we leave her care, she still has control over us. The better question is, what the fuck were you doing to Naruto? Helping her, Aaliyah stated simply. She needed a hard push, even if it was going to hurt her. It better work. Varrick shook his head before his eyes were drawn to a Chunin running up to them. Kakashi, sir, the Chunin puffed. It's Lady Tsunade. She's awake. Kakashi quickly took off running to Lady Tsunade's tent. When he got there he had to wait around for answers. He did get confirmation that she was awake, but it wasn't for another 3 hours that he was allowed to see her. He had prepared himself to find the formidable woman looking weak, pale, and fragile. Instead, she looked almost like she had woken from a peaceful rest and had a full meal. However, when she looked at him, he saw a flicker of fatigue. You don't mind if I take back my title, do you? Lady Tsunade joked with an easy smile before sobering up. I've been caught up on what has happened. Shizen told me that the Raikage is leading the United Army and has plans to put the 2 remaining Jinchuriki in a safe location. I have also been told that Naruto has been having some issues. I want your opinion on her emotional status. Is the Akatsuki getting to her? With a sigh, he put his hands in his pockets. I don't think they're helping, but honestly, I think this was always coming. Ibiki knows something about what Naruto's been through, and I'm going to get someone to look into a woman named Hiruma too. Lady Tsunade rubbed her forehead. I'll leave that to you, though I remember the name Hiruma from the Second Great Ninja War. Naruto won't have to be sent to the secret location until the armies are assembled. It'll take a few weeks. Do you have any suggestions if Naruto doesn't start to recover? Kakashi shrugged. Aliyah Akimichi has given Naruto a push in the direction she needs. Being in the Nara estate seems to be helping too. The clan has been going out of its way to protect her, and I think that's part of the reason Naruto has been having a hard time. She's allowed to be weak because they keep her safe, and Shikamaru is encouraging her to do things she wants. I think it's just bringing up things she didn't want to face. Give it some time. Sakura's POV. She was glad to have Lady Tsunade awake and taking over as Hokage again. Although Kakashi-sensei was a capable team leader, but the idea of him as Hokage was not something Sakura agreed with. He would be late to every meeting and probably burn his paperwork. Luckily, that issue wasn't going to happen. Honestly, she wasn't too happy with Kakashi-sensei and Captain Yamato for leaving her to be slapped by Hinata and yelled at by people she thought were her friends the day before. They had said she wasn't a good friend to Naruto, but they were wrong. Sakura was Naruto's best friend and always had his best interests in mind. Naruto had a lot of gaps in his knowledge that parents would normally fill in, like he shouldn't be a pervert and turn himself into a naked woman. When he was put on the team with Sasuke and Sakura, she had decided it would be her job to try and educate him and rein in his behavior. If Naruto had an issue with it, he would have told Sakura to stop, but he never had. When Lady Tsunade had decided to rest for the day, Sakura went to find the blonde boy. She had heard about Naruto having some issues the day before and wanted to see what had happened. Unfortunately, he was still staying at the Nara compound for some reason that Sakura couldn't understand. She herself was stuck in a tent with 2 other females she didn't know. She would have stayed with Ino, but her house had been destroyed and was staying at Shikamaru's. Since she was still forbidden from entering the Nara estate, she had to transform herself into Sai to get through the gate. The fact that Sai was allowed into the estate but she wasn't infuriated her. It was easy to spot Naruto. He was the only one with bright blonde hair. He was sitting near the forest that bordered the Nara estate on 2 sides with a small, black deer curled in his lap, little white horns poking out of its head. Naruto didn't look up when Sakura drew close to her. Sakura, why are you pretending to be Sai? Naruto continued to pat the deer's head. Because Shikamaru won't let me into the estate, Sakura huffed. Well, he is the heir, so maybe you should respect his wishes. Rolling her eyes, Sakura dropped the transformation and reached down, intending to pat the deer in Naruto's lap. However, Naruto's grabbed her wrist, finally raising his eyes to meet Sakura's. The Nara deer don't like strangers touching them. He let go of her wrist, going back to patting the deer. Sakura was thankful that Naruto was no longer looking at her. His face was pale, his eyes dull, and he looked small, almost broken. She couldn't help but wonder if the Naros weren't bothered with feeding him, or if with the 9 tails fully locked away Naruto was weakened or sick. Well, come on, you can take me to dinner. Sakura turned to leave only for Naruto to speak, making her look back. Why? Because we're friends. Naruto sneered, dark humor tinting his words as he looked up at Sakura again. I thought we were in love. I know Sai told you what I was really doing. Dummy, I was trying to protect you. Sakura gave a laugh, bringing her fist down towards Naruto's head. However, she again found her wrist captured in Naruto's grasp, though this time his hold was painful and his stare was sharp. The deer lifted its head off Naruto's knee, turning its head to look at a large deer slowly walking out of the forest. Stop hitting me! Naruto let Sakura's wrist go with a push. I don't like it. And we're not friends, we're barely teammates. What's making you say this? Has Shikamaru been saying mean things about me? Sakura snapped, rubbing her wrist. Bruises in the shape of fingers were starting to appear on her skin. The deer got off Naruto's lap, allowing him to stand. He can say whatever he wants, that doesn't change my thoughts. And I think that we aren't friends. I don't want you in my life. I will get Sasuke back for him, no one else. But you're not my teammate anymore. Now leave! Naruto, where is this suddenly coming from? From me. What you did was horrible. You don't even know me enough to know I like a man, not you. Get out! Naruto clenched his fists, trembles going through his body. Get out! Sakura heard a deep, throaty growl. She looked up to see the large deer lowering its head, stomping its foot. Naruto looked over his shoulder at the deer, before noticing the little black deer beside him doing a similar stance. Brief you, what's wrong? Naruto asked, a note of panic coming into his voice. Get back! A man with curly brown hair yelled, running towards them. He put himself between the large deer and the two ninjas, shooting Naruto a look over his shoulder. What happened? I don't know. I was telling Sakura to leave the estate, and then they start to act weird. Ryota, what's going on? She hasn't obeyed your order. Brief you and must think she's a threat to you now, and will kill her if she doesn't go. He glared at Sakura. Get out now! You're not welcome. Sakura shot Naruto one last look, who appeared more concerned about the deer than his teammate, before turning and running for the compound's gates. It wasn't until she was 2 streets away that she stopped to catch her breath. As she thought over Naruto's words, a tear ran down her cheek. She had tried to do what was best for Naruto, and yet everyone, even the blonde, was telling her that she was wrong. She wondered how that could be true when she remembered what Naruto had said. He liked a male. With a gasp, Sakura realized that she had no idea who Naruto was talking about, and had honestly thought that the blonde had been in love with her. It was disorienting to realize something she had thought to be fact turned out to be entirely wrong. However, she had tried to care for Naruto and teach him, so she didn't understand why the blonde had kept so many things from her. She would have spent more time with him if he hadn't run around making sexy jutsus and saying idiotic things. But the bruise on her wrist made one thing clear to her. Naruto had been letting her hit him all this time. She hadn't even seen the genin move to grab her wrist and could tell that the blonde had been holding back a lot with his grip. Surely I know something about Naruto, she thought. Thinking hard, she tried to answer simple questions about her teammate. What was his favorite flower? What was his biggest fear? What was his favorite dessert? Did he eat dessert? All she really knew was that Naruto liked the color orange in ramen, and wanted to be Hokage one day. At first she thought she was forgetting facts about Naruto that she had gotten so used to that she didn't think about them, but realized with surprise that she simply hadn't taken the time to really know Naruto. He talked a lot, but Sakura hadn't realized that Naruto never actually said anything. She wasn't even sure how Naruto had known it was her, and not Sai to begin with. Perhaps they truly weren't friends after all. Chapter 57 Broken. Every cell in his body screamed at him to punch Kakashi-sensei repeatedly until he had made wine from his corpse. However, every cell also screamed something else, much louder, and that was to ensure Naruto's safety above all else. When he had seen her running, he had felt his heart drop. For a moment he wondered if the village had turned on her. The appearance of Kakashi-sensei and Captain Yamato running after her just made more questions. Naruto's screaming was heartbreaking. But Shikamaru couldn't help but notice a select few witnesses ushering others away. One tried to do so with him, but he gave them a hard look. I'm not leaving Naruto. he snapped, pushing past the man to get to the blonde. Unfortunately, he had no idea on how to help her. Varric did, though. It reminded Shikamaru painfully that there were things in Naruto's life that he would never be privileged to whilst Varric was. However, when the man had calmed Naruto's screams, he had turned to Shikamaru to be the comforting hand. He brushed his surprise off in favor of seeing to Naruto. He had walked her to the estate in silence. He led her to his room, although she had taken to sleeping in her own bed recently. She instantly dropped onto the bed, lying down. Sitting down, he put her head in his lap, running his fingers through her hair to soothe her. "What do you need?" he asked softly, looking down at Naruto. "For everything to stop," Naruto muttered. "Everyone keeps asking too much off me. I have no more to give and I can't breathe." "Then stop giving," he replied, continuing to run his fingers through her hair. "I'm not going to be selfish. People will hate me." "No, they won't. Everyone does things for themselves at times. We need to in order to keep functioning. Once a month Mom, and Momiji, and Aunt Aiko go to the spa. Do you class them as selfish? Coming up to her wedding, Eri gave her clan duties to someone else so she could focus on the planning. Do you see her as selfish? No, they deserve the time off. Then why do you think you don't when you need it?" Naruto looked surprised and confused at his words. He forced himself to not cheer at the realization that something he had said had gotten through to Naruto. She lay silently in his lap. Shikamaru desperately wished he knew what was going through her mind. This was more than wanting Naruto to get to a point that he could tell her how he felt without fear of her accepting his affections. He wanted Naruto to get better, to feel respected, loved, and safe, even if she didn't want to be with him. It was hard to ignore the physical effects Naruto's state was causing. She was usually bright and vibrant, but slowly her energy had been leaving her. Her hair had become limp and dry, her eyes had lost their usual spark, her skin had paled, and every movement, every breath appeared to take more effort. The clothing that she owned before Pain's attack was sitting looser on her frame, something that was causing concern throughout the estate. He often saw his clansmen encouraging Naruto to have lunch with them, or to eat a snack or two. Shikamaru just hoped that in time Naruto would see that her suffering was hurting others, and that they all just wanted her to get better so she would be her usual happy self. Except Shikamaru was starting to wonder if Naruto had ever truly been happy. He wanted to believe that she had but couldn't stop the doubt that crawled into his mind. "Shikamaru," Naruto spoke softly, staring at the far wall. "Yeah? Can we just pretend that the outside world doesn't exist if only for a little bit?" "Of course. For however long you need. Will you keep me safe?" "Always." He was still unhappy with Naruto's team leaders and prayed that Naruto would start to mend, even if only a little at a time. Until then, he would do whatever was needed to protect Naruto from more pain. It was good to be on active duty again. He felt useful to the Leaf now that he could help with the distribution of food, the rebuilding, or patrolling the borders. He worked alongside some of the sand ninjas that had volunteered to assist the Leaf. When they had heard his name, they had instantly connected it to the clan that was housing Naruto. After that, he started receiving questions about the woman. Many of the sand had immediately identified Naruto as a female, and had no reason to question the matter. The fact that they hadn't grown up being told she was a he meant that they saw her feminine traits more clearly. They had also assumed that since Naruto was staying with Shikamaru, and some comments Tamari said before they had left the sand that she and the Nara heir were dating, he chose to not correct them on that matter. He was coming back from laying pavement with some sand ninja when he spotted Captain Yamato walking towards him. Shikamaru picked up his pace, his face hardening into a scowl. The older man stopped upon seeing him. He tried to give a small smile but flinched at Shikamaru's stare. "I just checked in on Naruto. She's doing well," Captain Yamato stated calmly. "After what you did to her, you mean?" Shikamaru snapped. The Jonin sighed. "We didn't want to hurt her, but she wouldn't heal until we broke her open." "That's insane. You could have found another way. You chose to break Naruto and leave her in pieces. Are you hoping that someone else will put the pieces back?" "Naruto has to do that herself. We can only help her do it." Shikamaru opened his mouth to retort but spotted a pink-haired girl darting out from his estate in the distance. He growled at her retreating form. What is she up to? He took off running, knocking Captain Yamato with his shoulder as he passed. He stopped in front of the Nara gate guards, demanding to know how Sakura had gotten into the compound. When they informed him that it had been Sai who had came to the gate wishing to see Naruto, Shikamaru instantly went looking for the blonde, hoping that Sakura hadn't done anything to worsen Naruto's emotional state. He spotted her sitting near the forest edge, patting Phi and Briefyu as Ryota talked to her. Seeing her in her male appearance made Shikamaru flinch. Naruto, are you alright? He asked, reaching out for her only to see her move back. He wasn't surprised though. Aside from moments when she truly needed comforting, she had been avoiding his touch. What did Sakura want? I'm fine. Sakura just wanted to act like nothing had happened, and I told her that that wasn't possible. Naruto turned her attention to the two deer, patting them as they nudged her hands for attention. Shikamaru, Ryota piped up, looking at his cousin seriously. I need to talk to you about some clan stuff. He led Shikamaru away from Naruto and any others who might overhear them. Did you order the deer to obey Naruto's orders? He rolled his eyes. I know you didn't like me letting Naruto name Phi, but that is a line I wouldn't cross. Well then, you should know that Naruto demanded that Sakura leave, and when she didn't obey, Briefyu and Phi got agitated and were going to attack. It's highly possible that they just realize how hard Naruto's had it lately and are protective of her, but I thought I should check in case other clan members saw what happened. That is odd, Shikamaru agreed, looking over at the blonde. Float the statement that the deer have noticed how much the clan cares about Naruto, and have taken it upon themselves to help. It very well could be the truth, and it will stop the idea that I gave Naruto authority over the deer. I can check, but I doubt either of my parents told the deer to listen to Naruto's orders. Ryota blushed, scratching the back of his neck. There's one other option, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, but if Naruto was carrying the heir, the deer would sense it and protect her. Shikamaru gave his cousin a deadpan expression. Did you just ask me if Naruto is pregnant? When Ryota nodded, looking incredibly embarrassed, Shikamaru shook his head. If she is, which I highly doubt, it wasn't by me. It was just a question, since that would cause the deer to act like that. But maybe you're right that they are just responding to the behavior of the clan. I'll make sure no one thinks that you gave Naruto authority over the deer. Other than that, how is Naruto doing? Did Sakura cause her any issues? She handled it really well. Naruto told Sakura to get the hell out of here and that they weren't friends, and she's looking better today too. Ryota shot a look over his shoulder at Naruto. Clansmen have been telling me anything they notice about her, that is a worry. Me too. I hate it. Every time I see a Nara coming towards me, I want to yell at them to leave me alone. Hearing every little thing Naruto does that is a concern is just making me stress. I can see that Naruto isn't well. I don't need others pointing it out to me. Shikamaru rubbed his forehead with a sigh. I think you should focus on why Naruto is moving away from your touch. You let her name Phi, so in my opinion that means you have to marry her or I'm going to annoy you for the rest of your life. Ryota grinned. 1. You'll annoy me forever anyway, the downfall of having you as a cousin, and 2. I know what's causing it. I just wish I could pretend it didn't exist. Suck it up, cuz. Ryota thumped Shikamaru on the back. You know it'll be worth it in the end. When he went looking for Naruto, he found her in her and Ino's room. He stopped short once he had walked into the room. There had been a noticeable shift with Naruto in the last few days. He was inclined to blame Sakura, but he knew that this particular change was his own making. In the month Naruto had been staying at the Nara compound, she had been dressing feminine and somewhat appealingly. She wasn't going out of her way to dress in an eye-catching manner, but instead was wearing clothing not made to size. The few pieces of clothing she had taken to the toes were more modest, even if they showed off her figure better, but the hand-me-down clothing had other intriguing issues. Although Hana was older and taller than Naruto, it became clear that Naruto's form was kawaii and more developed. The height difference and Hana's liking for baggy clothing meant that the articles Naruto had were only slightly too small, but it did create a strain around her chest or deep cleavage. Kiba's clothing was far too big and often resulted in shirts falling off one of Naruto's shoulders. Shikamaru's, whilst closer to Naruto's size when she wore her chest binds, didn't fit so well in her female form. With many shirts that was fine, since they were long enough to give more fabric to her chest without exposing her stomach. The button-up shirts she had taken to stealing was a different matter. Inoichi had demanded that Naruto never wear them without a jacket over the top when he saw that she had enough buttons open to reveal her brow. Shikamaru was hardly complaining over her clothing choices, and had even been tempted to hide all of Naruto's jackets after Inoichi's demand. However, after Shikamaru's and Naruto's lunch by the river, Naruto had taken to binding her chest again and dressing as a boy. Unfortunately, Shikamaru hadn't been able to think of a way to talk to Naruto about that moment, and asking someone else for advice was not an option. Now, in the privacy of her room, she most definitely didn't look male. She was sitting on her bed in one of Shikamaru's button-up shirts, and nothing else covering her orange bra and underwear. Naruto was writing in a notebook but stops when she looked up at the man. Putting the brush on the ink tray sitting on the nightstand, she asked him what he wanted. "I just wanted to spend some time with you," he admitted. "You've been having a hard time lately and I like to check on you." Naruto nodded, looking down at her notebook. Sitting down on her bed, Shikamaru looking at the words scribbled over the paper. Before he had a chance to read it, Naruto closed the book, putting it aside. "I'm getting better. I didn't like having to talk to Sakura yesterday, but it was necessary. She's not a bad friend, we just aren't friends. I don't think she ever really liked me, more just thought she had to since we were teammates. I'm glad we aren't continuing with that delusion. It's better for the both of us. She can spend more time on her true friends, and so can I. It's good that you can see the bright side to it. You have plenty of friends who truly want to be your friends. We all just want to see you happy." Pulling his shoulders back with a sigh, Shikamaru looked at Naruto. "We need to talk about the other day." "Which one?" Naruto asked with a roll of her eyes. "I've had a couple of full days lately." He cleared his throat. "The one with us, at the river. I know what you were, leading to that day." Naruto got up, moving to put her notebook away. "I don't want to talk about it." She turned back to him, crossing her arms and looking away. "I can admit that it hurt, partly my pride." "I know, but I think I should explain myself. It's not that he rolled his eyes at the heat filling his cheeks. "It's not that I didn't want to." "I know." Naruto raised an eyebrow at Shikamaru's confused look. Her eyes darted down for a hint before looking back into his face. "Well," he cleared his throat, "that's embarrassing." "At least we're on equal footing now," the blonde snorted. "Look, we don't need to talk about it. I get it. You were uncomfortable with me looking like a boy." "That's not it," Shikamaru yelped before running his hand down his face. "All right, how about we both agree that for this conversation we just be honest and ignore any embarrassment or pride? So, I had no issue with you looking like a male. You are Naruto, and that's all that matters. The reason I stopped us before it went anywhere is because I didn't know if you were doing something you wanted or you thought I wanted. If you tell me that you were doing it because you wanted to, I'll start kicking myself." He grinned when Naruto gave a splattered laugh. After a deep breath, Naruto unfolded her arms, rolling her eyes. "I'm glad you stopped me, even if it stung." The blonde walked closer, sitting on the bed facing Shikamaru. "If we're being honest, damn the consequences, then what is it you want from me? Is it just physical and friendship, or more?" He raised an eyebrow in surprise. "You don't know?" "Sometimes I think I know, but then I get doubts, and those doubts are easy for me to believe. And I've discovered recently that I have some issues." Shikamaru couldn't help but laugh at her flippant attitude. He put a hand on Naruto's bare thigh, feeling almost shy as he looked her in the eye. "I can't tell you how I feel until you tell me how you feel. And I need you to promise to not lie about your feelings, even if they aren't the same, or the opposite of my own." Naruto nodded slowly. "I don't really know how I feel. I know I like you romantically, but I don't know how deeply. I don't know how to tell. I'm okay with that. It took me a long time to realize the depth of my feelings for you. Now I know for certain. I love you." The blonde's eyes widened. You do? How can you be sure? With a soft smile, Shikamaru stroked Naruto's cheek, moving closer. He kissed her, not holding any of his emotions back. He pulled her close, until she was sitting on his lap, her chest pressing into his. One of his hands sat against her back as the other was lost in her hair. When he pulled back to answer Naruto, he was drawing short of breath. I don't really know how to explain it. Being with you makes everything easier, and it makes me feel stronger. The way you see the world and the way you do what you think is right, even if everyone is against you, is something that I admire. I find myself enjoying every moment of being with you. Are you disappointed that I don't know if I love you? Naruto asked softly, playing with the collar of his shirt instead of looking him in the eye. I promise to be honest, so no, I'm not disappointed. It hurts a little, not hearing you return the sentiment, but I understand that given your upbringing you might have trouble with this. It just means that, if you don't unknowingly love me already, I have a chance that you'll grow to love me. Naruto laughed before Shikamaru went on. Though I am kicking myself. About the other day? Naruto frowned, moving back as far as she could whilst straddling his legs. No, not that. He shook his head, smiling. I've been trying to tell you how I feel for months, but I was always worried that you would convince yourself that you loved me so that you wouldn't have to break my heart. And it was only today that I realized I could just tell you why I wanted you to be honest, and you'd tell me the truth. Naruto kissed him. Well, just think, it could have always taken you longer to work that out. True, that would be horrible. Cupping the back of Naruto's head, Shikamaru pulled her closer, kissing her deeply. Any restraint he had unconsciously put on himself melted away. Again he felt a stab of stupidity for not simply being honest with her earlier. There was little he could do about that now, though. He gasped in surprise when Naruto pushed him flat to the bed. When she laughed against his mouth, he realized that was her entire intention. In retaliation, he slid his hand up the back of her shirt, running his fingers over her spine. Naruto squirmed and squealed into his mouth, making him laugh. When he stopped, he kept his hand on her warm skin. He had always felt like he was pushing his luck when doing such a thing previously and had been waiting for Naruto to push him away. Now he felt comfortable with his actions, and he could tell Naruto was already becoming bolder with her actions. Both of Naruto's hands slid up his shirt to sit on his chest, pushing his shirt up to expose his stomach as she kissed him deeper. Naruto eventually pulled back, looking down at him with amusement. We're about to be interrupted. As though on cue, Ino opened the door. When she saw them, she yelped, covering her eyes. You should lock the door or something. We're not doing anything, Naruto retorted with a laugh. She sat up, removing her hands from under Shikamaru's shirt, and kindly pulling the fabric back down. You're half naked. I'm always half naked. I don't like pants. Naruto grinned at the other blonde's discomfort. She snorted when she looked down at Shikamaru, only to see him comfortably stretched out beneath her, his hands now behind his head. That's why I came in here. Ino rolled her eyes. To see Naruto not wearing pants? Shikamaru raised an eyebrow. Should I feel threatened? That's not what I meant. So I wanted to talk to you, but I figured I should make sure you were dressed instead of just sending him in here. Naruto snorted, rolling her eyes. He's already seen me naked. If that didn't faze him, I doubt seeing me without pants will. When Ino crossed her arms, Naruto sighed dramatically. Fine, if you insist. She jumped off of Shikamaru, walking over to her dresser and pulling out a pair of pants and a shirt that looked like one from Kiba. Without hesitation, Naruto unbuttoned her shirt, dropping it to the ground as Ino yelped again. Naruto, modesty is clearly not one of my virtues, Naruto retorted, pulling on her pants and sending an amused smile Shikamaru's way. I guess that's a side effect of having perverted senseis. You get desensitized. I am not complaining, Shikamaru added, having not moved from his spot. He was unashamedly staring at Naruto. Although he had seen her in various states of undress thanks to her lack of caring, he had never seen her in only her bra and underwear. Her skin was smooth, lacking any scarring, and every inch of her was the same level of tan, showing that she ever frequently took to nudity, or that was her natural skin color. The orange of her underwear highlighted her brown skin instead of clashing with it. He was thankful that she was out of arm's reach and that Ino was present, making him actually stay in control. I am, Ino snapped, her face red. And I wish you wouldn't remind me that Sai has seen you naked. It makes me feel self-conscious in comparison. You shouldn't. You're gorgeous, and Sai and I don't see each other that way, Naruto insisted. She walked closer to Shikamaru, leaning down and kissing him. As she pulled back, she winked at him before turning back to Ino. And you know, I've seen him naked, so if you want to know if he has any scars or tattoos, I can tell you, or you can tell him you want to draw a nude model. I'm sure he'd volunteer. She ran from the room with a laugh as Ino threw a pillow at her retreating back. Shikamaru couldn't help but laugh at Naruto teasing Ino, drawing the young Yamanaka's attention. She gave him a withering stare, which just made him grin at her cheekily. If you keep that up, I'll go tell Naruto you're in love with her, Ino threatened. With a deep sigh, he sat up, pretending her words had sobered him. He stood, stretching before heading to the door. As he crossed the threshold, he threw over his shoulder casually. I already told her, that's why we were on the bed. He laughed when he heard her gasp before he took off running, knowing Ino was not far behind wanting answers. When he passed Naruto and Sai in the lounge room, he stopped long enough to kiss Naruto before taking off again, ignoring Ino's demands for him to stop. Chapter 58 Emotions Are Hard. Sai's POV. He felt the muscles around his mouth pull as Ino ran past, chasing Shikamaru with a large grin on her face. He looked at Naruto for answers, only to get a shrug off the woman. She was watching Shikamaru with a soft smile on her face, though that was hardly uncommon. When he had first seen Naruto outside of Shikamaru's house, he had sat and watched them. He had been tempted to move closer, to hear what they were saying. In that moment he had itched to sketch them. That was the first time he had felt a want-to-know emotions. He had seen Naruto rushing to the house, chewing her lip, though at the time he had thought it was his lip, and was tugging at her clothing, as though that was the only way to release energy. However, when Shikamaru had come to the door, looking like he had only recently rolled out of bed, the change was almost instantaneous. Naruto calmed, a small smile gracing her face. Although it was small, it lit her face up, making her eyes sparkle. The two stood closer together than the ordinary comrades. There was more than a familiarity between the two, and Naruto was incredibly expressive. Sai had never seen such a person. The Foundation never really interacted with the village, so they only ever truly saw their fellow Foundation members and their enemies. Sai had wondered as he watched the two if it was common for ninjas in the village to be so open. It would make for poor ninjas. He had been seized with a desire to push their buttons, especially when a third person had joined them, causing Naruto to retreat into herself. Sai had wanted to test his new teammate anyway, and see what type of person he was dealing with. He had had a hard time believing that this pup was the Ninetales. He had quickly realized that if he ever wanted to destroy the Nara heir, he would simply have to target Naruto. The way he knocked her out of the way, hiding the fact that one of Sai's inked beasts had caught him on the shoulder, revealed to Sai that Naruto was worth Shikamaru's life. Sai filed that away to tell Danzo about that bit of information at the end of his mission with Naruto. Oddly enough, it turned out to be fortuitous that he hadn't reported straight to Danzo. He didn't want to tell him those secrets anymore. By the end of the mission, he found Naruto to be fascinating. She was both easy and difficult to read, and she never showed that same soft smile he had seen before. Even when she was talking about Sasuke, and lips turned up at the corners ever so slightly, it hadn't been the same. Sai had tried to recreate that smile both in a painting and in the mirror with no success. He was able to understand what muscles to use, but there was a missing component. He had tried everything to get Naruto to pull the expression as well, including standing close to Naruto, and when that failed and instead she looked depressed, he had tried to kiss her. His confusion over Naruto pushing him away was only heightened when he had spotted Shikamaru and Naruto in an embrace as he came out of the hospital. He couldn't understand why Naruto readily accepted the other man's touch, whilst when he tried to recreate the same interactions he was apparently overstepping a line. When Sakura had told Sai about Naruto running off with Shikamaru and leaving Sora in her hands, he had decided to take Naruto as an example and simply voice his questions. When he spotted the woman walking towards the hospital with a smile on her face, he had stepped in her way, asking if he could talk to her. He had learned that people like to be asked that. Naruto had shrugged and let Sai lead her to her training grounds. Why is your relationship with Shikamaru different to that of others? Cause no two relationships are the same. Naruto shrugged again, turning away as though she was already done with the line of questioning. But the way you interact with the other two, the big one and the pretty one, that's not the same as Shikamaru. Please tell me you didn't hesitate on the word pretty because you think Ino's ugly. I might have to hurt you for that. Naruto glared, obviously ignoring the rest of Sai's comment until he answered. I feel pretty is a weak word to describe her, but Sakura didn't like when I said my actual thoughts to her, so I settled for pretty so as not to anger Ino. Naruto appeared to accept that. Look, Shikamaru is just different to the others. He's just someone I care about more, and can be open with. You know I hide my gender. Well, Shikamaru was the only person I actually felt guilty about hiding it from. He's just... Naruto searched for the words, someone who makes me smile, no matter what. Oh. Sai couldn't tell if he found that answer satisfying or not. Looking at Naruto now though, as she laughed at Ino trying to corner Shikamaru, he understood. He had been right about Shikamaru when he first saw him. He would give his life for Naruto, but not just for her life, but for her happiness, and Naruto wouldn't hesitate to do the same. Watching as Ino took flight down the hallway after a cackling Shikamaru, Sai failed to notice as his mouth pulled into a soft smile. When the two were out of sight, Sai turned back to Naruto to discuss why he had came to see her. He hesitated for a moment. He knew that Naruto had been having issues lately, and was beginning to worry about her. He had also recently discovered that she was claustrophobic. These reasons made him select his wording closely. With Danzo gone, the Foundation is leaderless. Lady Tsunade hasn't chosen whether or not she wants to dismantle the group. The problem is, either way the organization needs to change. It's not right to strip people of their emotions, and if the Foundation is dismantled then they will have trouble integrating into the village. If you able, I would appreciate your help. You are the one who first made me interested in emotions, being so expressive, and I think you can understand where many of us are coming from too, so I wish to introduce you to the members. I figured if they were slowly open to the idea of emotions they would take to it better than if they were just forced into the rest of the village and expected to understand. And you think I can do that for them? Naruto asked, looking baffled. I do. I know that many of the Foundation members were angry, or at least their equivalent of angry, that they were made to stay out of the battle with pain, and appreciate that you not only stopped pain but were able to bring people back to life. And well, some of the Foundation members have been watching you since you were young. They respect you for what you've overcome. The only problem is that the Foundation headquarters is actually a city under the ground. If you're not okay with that, I'll find another way. Sai made himself smile in what he hoped was an understanding way, for he did understand. His face just didn't. You said city, so it's large, right? Very actually. And Captain Yamato is coming too, and he offered to crack a hole in the roof if you feel uncomfortable. Don't do that. It might cave in, but if I get uncomfortable I'll tell you. They went in search of Shikamaru and Ino to tell them they were leaving. They found Ino asking Shikamaru questions at rapid succession, though it was clear she was making them up to annoy the man. In retaliation the man kept messing her hair, or giving complete nonsensical answers. Sai had a suspicion that Naruto living with the two was starting to grate on their sanities. There was something dark inside Sai's stomach as he watched the two. It was surprisingly soothed when Shikamaru spotted Naruto, instantly moving away from Ino, towards the shorter blonde. He touched her cheek before kissing her. Sai found it fascinating how gentle Shikamaru always seemed to be with Naruto. The Jonin had always seen Naruto as this strong, formidable ninja. When he had found out that Naruto was female, he had been more surprised at the unmarred, soft look to her skin than her actual gender. He had unconsciously created an image in his mind of her being scarred, muscular, and weathered. He had never thought to treat her delicately. He certainly wasn't going to start either, since he could tell this was something only Shikamaru could do. Naruto explained where she and Sai were going. Shikamaru and Ino were clearly worried about Naruto taking on another task, but she assured them that she wanted to do so, and if that changed she would stop. Sai was glad to hear Naruto make the distinction between want and duty. She did, however, still transform herself into a boy. Sai led Naruto towards the entrance to the Foundation's headquarters. The entrance was a part of a remote section on the other side of the village to the Nara estate. As they walked through the village, many people smiled at Naruto, giving a friendly wave or hello that the blonde returned. He hadn't known Naruto when she was younger, but even in the few months he had known her, he had seen how the village had changed their view of Naruto. When he had joined the team, the village had acknowledged that Naruto was a competent ninja, but now they respected her and saw her as a potential leader. He knew through Foundation members that Danzo had been keeping an eye on the village chatter as he moved for the Hokage position. Many had heard how the villagers were declaring Naruto as the next Hokage, once she had become older. However, something in that confused him. He knew that the villagers were willing to wait for her to mature instead of putting a burden of leadership on someone so young, but Naruto was known for being rash at times. Naruto, why didn't you question whether your name was put forward for Hokage when Lady Tsunade was ill? Sai asked in his usual monotone. The blonde sighed, running a hand through her hair. Promise to not tell anyone? When Sai nodded, Naruto went on. I can understand why people must think I want the title now, since Gaara is the same age as me, but honestly I'm glad they didn't consider me. Everyone would probably think something is wrong with me for saying that, but I knew deep down what everyone has been trying to show me. I do what others want. And the idea of becoming Hokage right now, when I'll just let everything and everyone control me, is horrifying. The Hokage does need to do things for the village, but if I was doing everything people wanted, I wouldn't be doing what people needed. And I want more. I know it probably sounds selfish, but I want more than to wake up every morning, put on the Hokage robes, and put everyone first. I want to. I don't know. I just know that life would be missing something. And I know that if I become Hokage before I have that thing, I might never have it. I understand. That's why I want to bring the Foundation into the light. I never realized how hollow my life was until I had friends and people to worry about. When I saw the state of the village, I felt this fear, and I realized that I was afraid of losing people. As horrible as that feeling was, I would rather have that feeling than none at all. And I want more, though I'm not sure what it is either. Sai smiled at Naruto. I support you. And I'll help you in any way I can. Same here. Naruto threw her arm around Sai's shoulders as they walked, pulling him into her side for a hug. Naruto, please wait. The two turned to see Sakura running towards them. When she stopped in front of them, she gave Sai a small smile. I'd like to talk to Naruto alone. Would you prefer if I turned myself into you? Sai asked coyly before his eyes narrowed, or would you find that an invasion of trust? Sakura had the dignity to blush shamefully. I'm sorry, Sai, I shouldn't have. And I'm sorry, Naruto. I know I could never make it up to you, and you're right, we're not friends. But I'm going to make sure I start treating you as the comrade worthy of respect that you are. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I need to say something, because I feel if I don't you're going to get hurt more, and I think you've been hurt enough. What is it? Naruto asked, looking curious. Sasuke isn't into men. The blonde raised an eyebrow. And? Well, you said how you liked him, Sakura stammered. EW. Naruto yelped. Sasuke is like my brother. I was talking about Shikamaru. Oh. Sakura blinked repeatedly, clearly having not considered the Nara. Is he interested in men? Ino hasn't ever said so. Considering he's in love with me, Naruto started, a smile tugging at her lips. I'm going to say no. When Sakura frowned, Naruto rolled her eyes. No one looks for the Adam's apple. Sakura, I'm female. Like since birth. Surprising even Sai, Naruto put her hands together, releasing the transformation jutsu. The baggy shirt she wore did little to hide her physique, especially when it was falling off one shoulder, revealing an orange bra strap and some cleavage. Tada! Sakura gaped. There was a look of envy that flickered across her face as she took in Naruto's figure. Even Sai, who has trouble understanding concepts of physical beauty, could see that Naruto was more appealing to the eye in her underrated clothing than Sakura was in her bright dress. I really don't know anything about you, do I? I guess I'm partly to blame, though. I was so desperate to have you as a friend I was too scared to be my real self. Having you reject the me I showed was easier than having you reject who I really am. Sakura dropped her head. Well, maybe one day I'll be a person you can trust to be honest with. She sighed. I'll let you get back to more important things. Naruto let out a shaky breath. That went better than I expected, though I'm waiting for it to bite me in the butt. Sai put a hand on Naruto's shoulder, giving her what he hoped was a reassuring smile. It will be fine, I'm sure of it. They found Captain Yamato waiting outside the entrance to the Foundation headquarters. He was reminded sharply that the team leader had been a Foundation member himself at one point. Said members rarely left. They ever died, became of no more use, and possibly killed under Danzo's orders, or retired to be a spy in the Leaf Village for Danzo. Feeling a moment of recklessness, Sai asked Captain Yamato how he got away from the Foundation. Honestly, Kakashi? He shrugged, leading the two into the headquarters. Both men were clearly keeping an eye on Naruto as all sunlight was blinked out and artificial light blanketed them. Whilst on a mission for Danzo to, kill the third Hokage, Kakashi bested me but spared me because he believed my wood style might save the village, and you, Naruto, one day. I had been told only horrible things about Kakashi and other village ninjas like him, and yet he didn't live up to them. That was the first thing that triggered a change in me. The other major thing that changed me was I discovered my real name, or maybe that's just a wish I and Tenzo's sister shared, so I became Tenzo. When Kakashi realized I no longer had the mentality of the Foundation, he spoke with the third and even broke into the Foundation himself in time to save me from reprogramming. Sai flinched. He knew that he was defected compared to the others since he never actually killed his brother, and had therefore worked hard to make sure he never showed his differences. Reprogramming was something that even the most emotionless Foundation member was afraid of. Kakashi-sensei really did that? Naruto asked with a chuckle. Yeah, he was kinda reckless when he was younger. When I left the Foundation I was assigned to his Umbu team. Aaliyah was assigned to make sure his, and my, mental statuses were stable. Apparently your dad, Naruto, was very worried about Kakashi having PTSD. Either way, it was enjoyable to see this highly happy and kind woman being able to pull our leader into line with a single look. Especially if Kakashi had spent the day annoying me. Captain Yamato smiled when Naruto laughed. She is good at reading people, though after the other day Shikamaru wants to punch all three of you, but I don't think he'd hit a woman. Well, of course he wants to hurt them. He loves you after all. Sai repeated a gesture Naruto had done many times, enrolling his eyes. It felt odd and he wasn't sure he would pick up that particular gesture. Yeah, but that's not why he's mad. Her eyes widened. Holy crap, that is the reason, isn't it? Wait, she knows Shikamaru loves her? Captain Yamato asked, a large smile spreading across his face. He told me earlier. And he was alright with me admitting that although I like him I don't know if I love him, Naruto explained in a huff. But seriously, is everything Shikamaru does for me because he loves me? Yes, both men confirmed without a blink. Is that bad? What about if he doesn't want to do so? Naruto asked in panic, stopping in her step. Captain Yamato gave her a soft, possibly proud smile. Sai could only assume that it was pride at Naruto showing her care for Shikamaru more openly, and that she was starting to question what acts through wants were right, and what were crossing a line. Naruto, people do things for love. You love Sasuke like a brother. Even though everyone has told you to give up on him, you have refused. It is your desire to save him, and it is our love and respect for you that makes us want to help you. Things aren't as simple as good and bad, and it's the same with our wants and desires. And until you get a handle on that, we will help you. Thank you, Captain Yamato. And even if Shikamaru is mad at what you did, I'm actually kinda glad. I needed the painful push. Sai felt Naruto grab his wrist as they walked. He looked at the blonde, noticing the clammy look to her skin in the fluorescent lights. Are you alright? Yeah, just have to be reminded that I'm not alone. With a nod, Sai hooked his arm with Naruto's, walking at a calming pace. He could feel Naruto relax a little when they stepped into the large cavern that a beehive-like structure was built into. The cavern was so vast that it could easily be mistaken for outside, on a very cloudy night. He and Captain Yamato clearly spotted Foundation members spying on them from the shadows of the upper bridges. For a moment Sai thought Naruto was oblivious to the watchful eyes. However, she proved him wrong in all Naruto fashion. "Hey up there! How's IT going?" Amusement filled him, something Captain Yamato sounded with his sniggers. Sai could easily tell from the body languages of his comrades that Naruto's shouts had baffled them. Whether the blonde herself noticed or not was unclear as she went on. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Nice to meet you." Seemingly out of curiosity more than anything, some of the members jumped down onto the entrance bridge, walking slowly towards the three. It was fascinating to see Naruto's effects on the emotionless from the outside, even if the Foundation members all wore masks. "What are you doing here?" a man asked, looking as though he was ready for an attack. "We just wanted to talk, make sure you guys are doing well after losing your leader, that sort of thing. This place is..." Naruto looked around, really dark. "Don't you ever miss the sun?" The Foundation members shared looks before some muttered that, yes, they did at times. A few shuffled closer to Naruto, clearly studying her. Danzo had described Naruto as a threat to the village. Sai had seen Naruto's file. She was put down as a threat to the Foundation, and he knew that that was correct. Naruto had power in the village now, and Danzo had wanted to control her. If those two had actually clashed, it would have shook the village. Sai was slightly disappointed he never got to witness such a conflict. It was obvious, though, that Naruto was not a threat to the members themselves, for she radiated calm and understanding. Sai realized with a plunge of sorrow that Naruto did understand better than most. She had suffered too, she just didn't have the luxury of being emotionally dead inside. "Well, you do realize the sun is just on the other side of that tunnel. No one is stopping you." When they still looked hesitant, Naruto gave them a smile. "What's your names?" The one closest to Naruto shrugged. "We don't really have names. Most of the time we're referred to by numbers, unless Lord Danzo gave us names for certain missions. They aren't our real names, though." Naruto frowned. "Did Danzo keep records? Your names should be in them." "Maybe for some. Those that Hiroma sent to the Foundation might, if she bothered to note them," one of the women scoffed. "You know, I should be shocked that Hiroma was a Foundation member, but honestly, that makes too much sense. She was one of Danzo's top agents before she was injured, then she became his best recruiters. She hid their disappearances from the village and kept an eye out for strong people. She had wanted to push you into Danzo's grasp, but you were being watched too closely, and you were apparently weak with no clear talents. Obviously, she was wrong." Naruto gave the man in front of her a small smile. "You know, you can always give yourself a name." It was as though the blonde had said something extreme, like the earth was actually the sky. Although their faces were hidden, Sai could tell that the Foundation members were stunned. So was he, though. He had wanted a name, one that was truly his, for so many years. It wasn't until he heard his friends calling out to him with the name that Danzo had given him did he realize that he had claimed the name Sai for his own. But he had never thought to simply give himself one. "I like the name Haru," the man admitted softly, as though he was ashamed. "Nice to meet you, Haru." Naruto held out her hand to the man, who hesitated before shaking it. Slowly, the man reached up and removed his mask, revealing a surprisingly aesthetically pleasing face. Haru would have been ordered to keep his mask on at all times by Danzo. There was nothing particularly threatening in the man's bright, hazel eyes, dusty brown hair, or angular face. Although there were benefits of appearing unthreatening, something Naruto often used, Danzo liked his subordinates to look as deadly as they truly were. Whether Naruto knew it or not, some of the most powerful members of the Foundation had came out to speak with her. They were the leaders when Danzo was out of the village, or in this case dead. With such a simple thing as telling them they could have a name, more members started to move closer to Naruto, wanting to see what she did next. Some of the members ended up joining Naruto and Sai in going outside to sit in the sun. There were a number of members who were from the orphanage like Naruto, and remembered some of Huruma's brutality. They sat swapping stories with the blonde, the group even finding some amusement with the distance of time. Captain Yamato joined them later when he had gathered some of the documents Lady Tsunade had requested. Oh, when I found out she was sending me to Danzo, I broke into her office and stole those caramel candies that she kept in her office and gave them to everyone. A girl who named herself Iki recounted. She was so mad, and it was worth every second of time in the box. Naruto gasped. I remember that. They were nice. Wait, are you the girl that Haruma called a boy? When Naruto nodded, Iki whistles. I remember the stuff she used to do to you. She really targeted you. Haru muttered. That's cause Danzo wanted Naruto to lash out and be too dangerous for the village to hold. Haruma was more than happy to help. Now I'm really glad I never did. It would have given them both too much satisfaction, Naruto said plainly, stretching out and resting on her elbows. Sai almost jumped out of his skin when a laugh rippled through the group. Some looked surprised at the noise they had produced. He knew that feeling. The first time Naruto had made him laugh, he hadn't actually known what that sound was. He had had to ask Captain Yamato what it was he had just done. Luckily, the man could understand where Sai's confusion came from. The sun was starting to disappear behind the trees when they finally left the group. Sai and Naruto had assured them that they would be back the next day as well. Naruto had even thought to ask if they had enough provisions. The fact that she took the time to care, especially knowing that the Foundation hadn't been in the battle with Pain, had stunned the members. They assured her they were fine. They had almost made it back to the Nara estate before someone stopped them. This time it was Choji who was heading in the same direction as them. Sai still didn't know how he felt about Choji. In many ways the man was underwhelming for a ninja. He was far too kind and soft-hearted, but Sai had seen him battle and had trouble believing the man in battle was the same as the man he saw in the village. They were far too different in Sai's mind. Perhaps he was missing something in Choji's character, or perhaps Choji had a split personality. That thought did interest Sai. Hey, I have been trying to find time to talk to you two without Shikamaru or Ino. Choji grinned. Their birthdays are coming up soon and I was hoping to plan something with your help. Their birthdays are only a day apart, so they often celebrate it together so we can do one big thing or two small things. Apparently Choji wasn't expecting the confused looks he received from the two. It was Naruto who broke the baffled staring contest with a look of comprehension. Oh, you guys follow the Uchiha birthday traditions, like with the cake, and the candles, and the song, though Sasuke never taught me that one. What? No, that's just a birthday, Choji exclaimed, only for realization to dawn on him. Neither of you have had a birthday celebration, have you? Sai shook his head as Naruto shrugged. Once. Sasuke told me it was a Uchiha thing, but that some others in the village also did it, so it wasn't surprising that I didn't know. Choji hung his head, guilt marring his face. I shouldn't have said anything. Choji, it's not really a secret that I've missed out on things, Naruto reassured, though pain did flicker through her eyes. But, we can think of something. I think two small things might be better, that way we have more celebration than one big thing. 2 days after everything would feel better, and we also have Kurinai-sensei's housewarming, and our blanket to give her, so that should lift spirits. That's a good idea. Choji started leading them into the Nara estate. The moment Naruto walked into the living room, she collapsed next to Shikamaru on the floor, putting her head on his lap. She didn't interrupt the shogi match going on between Shikamaru and his father, instead closing her eyes. Is everything alright, Naruto? Shikaka asked as he watched Shikamaru move a piece on the board. Tired. It's been a long day, but it's a good one. I met some nice people today. Naruto hummed when Shikamaru ran his fingers through her hair. If I fall asleep, please wake me up for dinner. Did Naruto help the Foundation members? Ino asked Sai, her voice soft as to not disturb Naruto. Yes, I believe she did. She is very blatant but views the world rather oddly. Sai smiled at Ino, who shifted from foot to foot. We are going back tomorrow. Maybe I could go with you too, offered the blonde. No, I don't think so. Sai frowned. He watched something flicker through Ino's eyes, and Shikamaru and Choji both looked over at him with hard eyes. He didn't know what they were feeling, but he knew he was feeling something dark stabbing at his stomach. He wanted to keep Ino away from the Foundation. When he tried to work out why, the only thought that came to mind was that Ino was his and Danzo, even from the grave, was not allowed to get his hands on her. She was Sai's. She was not part of his mission, she was not part of his logical analysis of life. She was simply Ino, and she was to stay. That was in Sai's life.